Morena everyone, welcome along to Tauranga here in the Bay of Plenty, where we are back for day 2 of the New Zealand Secondary Schools Track and Field Champs. We are straight into some action on the track with the senior boys and senior girls sprint hurdles with the 110 hurdles. So we've already just done heat number 1. Apologies, that just went a little bit ahead of schedule, so we didn't quite pick that up in the live stream. But we will be live for heat number 2, and it's just 2 heats, so 2 heats in the senior boys 110 hurdles. Now I have a start list here, so I've got Joshua Price from St. Thomas, Thomas Wynn from Sacred Heart, Tremaine Redmond Gardner from Avondale College, and Nat Kirk from Whanganui High School out there on the left. So it's great to have your company. We're in for another sunny day here in Tauranga, and joining me in studio is Tony Rogers, who's the man behind this event. You're part of the team that have, you're leading the team that have put together this event each year. So welcome along, Tony. And how are the nerve levels in terms of being midway through the weekend?
Well, of course, Hayden, after day 1's underway, things do settle down because the routines are well established, and all the officials are doing their role, and we're blessed again with a beautiful sunny morning, which is what we didn't have in Wellington last year. Yeah, I think the weather is looking like it's going to play ball all weekend. Aside from a reasonably stiff westerly, which will be going from the left to the right of your screen. Here we go. Going to false start. It's not how you want to start the morning. Hopefully we get a yellow flag with this one. So the winner of the previous heat, I believe, was Cameron Moffat. We'll try and get confirmation on that as soon as possible. And the winner of this event last year was Matthias Pure. And the man who got 5th in that event is lining up in the centre of the screen there, Tremaine Redmond Gardner. Now it looks like we might have lost one of our athletes. False start's taking the toll on one of the athletes there.
Yes, I think that was Thomas Wynn of Sacred Heart.
So Redmond Gardner, they're unsteady again. Real shame. It's probably a bit breezy down there. The wind's coming straight up behind the grandstand off the harbour at the moment. It's cool as well, but it's fine.
Yeah, you can see a little bit of water just behind the athletes there, and like you say, Tony, if you swung to the left, you'd see a massive expanse of water where there's kind of this channel where the wind just channels through right on the bend there, right on the start of these 110 hurdles. So if you're going to feel it anywhere on the track, it'll be just that little point. And I came down this morning, did a little workout, and got a feel for sort of where the wind is hitting. And definitely that top bend is the tricky one. That's where you'll run straight into a good old headwind, and then sort of dissipates once you get the protection of the grandstand and onto the home straight.
It looks set for the 3rd time lucky, and it's Redmond Gardner from Avondale in the middle.
Yeah, so Redmond Gardner just pulling away now. Nat Kirk looking strong, also just slightly clipping, and over clean now. And I believe it'll be the top 3 will go through anyway, so hopefully those 3 will be safely through.
And I just thought we'd probably see Redmond Gardner later in the weekend with the high jump, because he did really well last year, so yes. I'm sure he'll be one of our top contenders.
Likes jumping things, obviously. All right, so other action on this morning. Of course, we're going to skip over to the girls' 100 hurdles next on the track. But on the field, we've got the girls' shot put senior final. We've got the boys' long jump with a massive field in the long jump with 38 competitors. And then also the boys' hammer throw, which will be over on the back field. So there we've got the starters in the senior girls shot put final. So Caitlin Richardson, Antonia Jameson, Kaya Tupu South, Violet Perry, Hannah McGregor, Sarah Tai. Try and pick up the start list from the start list that I've got.
So I'm looking at some of the favourites, and here I think will be Violet Perry and Kaya Tupu South from in the girls' shot put. We'll pick up a few more of them as they come to the fore.
Program, boys 100 metre hurdles, 90 in entries, 3 heats, and they're just shifting the hurdles as we speak. We'll start at 9:10. Okay, the results from
Sky Singer
was
here from Otaki College,
from
getting her morning, her weekend underway. Her first throw of the shot put. She's got a seed distance of 10 metres exactly, so that looks like it's out close to that. Good little crowd building up around the shot put. A lot of action on the field with the long jump also kicking off. You can see athletes warming up for the day's action. So let me finish off running through this list. We got it to Violet Perry. We've also got Monica Falmui, Rinka Slump, Hannah McGregor of Aquinas, Kristen Willis of St Hilda's, Antonia Jameson of St Orans, Nellie Bork of Solway College, Sarah Tai of St Peter's, Savannah Sampson Tuanukuafi of St Peter's, Arwen Solomon of Ormiston, Regan De Bono of St Peter's, Tegan Ashley of Aparima College, Caitlin Richardson of Waitakere College, Caitlin Mianung of Waikato Dio. So Tegan Ashley there of Aparima. Nice conditions for shot putting. Definitely, it's warming up every kind of hour that goes by this morning. It's warming up to a nice summer's day. We're expecting temperatures to be up into the low to mid 20s. Oh, so good. Solid opening. Yeah, I think that's Natalia Rankin-Cheetah. Yeah, so that's a throw up around that 15 metre mark, so 14.96.
So some of these girls are getting into the circle quite quickly and getting their shot away. You'll notice, I think some of the more experienced girls will take a little bit more time to get themselves set, but obviously in these early rounds, the officials also are trying to get through the field reasonably quickly, but we'll get the top throwers will get a further 3 throws after the first 3 rounds.
Tapanisa Javier here coming into the circle. So she got third in this event last year. Let's see how her first throw goes. Getting out around that 16 metre mark.
I'm sure that'll safely see her through to get the additional 3 throws once we get the top qualifiers.
Yeah, so her mark last year in the same event was 16.03 in the wild weather, so 15.52. It's a good solid opener.
Looks like we've got Elizabeth Hewitt from St James, Chiltern St James from Wellington. She won the junior hammer last year. wasn't quite up to the other girls at the stage. Was a little bit flat with the release there, so.
Bianca slump here.
All the way from the deep south, northern Southland College.
That's a great name for a school.
Yeah.
I've never heard North and South used in the same title for something, but why not?
So I did do a double take on that myself, Hayden.
Yeah.
When I read it, and I said, yeah, I am reading it right. So here we've got our St. Peter's lass, Monika Faumui. Really accomplished netballer as well, I believe, this young lady.
There, Brian Mellon will be lane 2, done in 3, Stevenson and 4.
So, of course, in the background you'll hear a bunch of track events happening and junior events. So if you want to keep track of all the results and see what's happening, our coverage is focused on the seniors, of course. So if you want to keep track of what's going on, head along to the NZSSAA.org.nz website and you'll see all the results, the timetable for the weekend, heat draws. So bookmark that page for the weekend as your source of information.
It's Arwen Solomon from Ormiston Senior College, one of the newer uniforms on the national secondary school scene. Good to see you out there though, and the throw just under the 12-metre mark.
All right, Caitlin Richardson from Waitakere. Looks like she was getting up close around that 10-metre mark.
Next up, we've got Antonia Jamison from St. Oran's College.
It's a good solid throw there to open up her weekend. Now, Tony Rogers, Can we talk about some numbers for this weekend? Do you have an idea of how many athletes are taking part? How many schools are represented? That sort of thing?
Yeah. There was just entry numbers were pretty good considering the kind of year we've had, Hayden.
Yeah.
With a lot of our athletes not having had an opportunity to compete since way back in February.
Kaya Tubu South. Oh, that's a good opener.
Yeah, so she'll be one of the favourites in this event. And just getting back to that, so we had just on 1,300 athletes entered for this championships here in Tauranga this weekend from 214 schools, I think it was, from throughout the country. So it's a fairly good wide representation, as we can see. So there's the replay of Tupu South now. That's the leading throw is 16.59, I think, at this stage of the round. Next up is Violet Perry. I think we've got some cuffs.
Sorry, Connor Brown from Tauranga Boys College.
Sorry, Tony, I got distracted. So how many athletes are we looking at this weekend? And
so we've got just over 1,300 entries. So and tomorrow morning there's around about 400 of those. Now some of them will compete on the track, but they'll double up and will do the road race just down at Coolum Park, right on the foreshore of Otamotai, on the inner harbour there, which is a beautiful setting for tomorrow morning's road race.
So Hannah McGregor. Yeah, absolutely, and it's one of the benefits of a location like this with great parks nearby, and looks like it'll be a really good coastal environment for those guys to get out early in the morning and smash it out on the roads. So obviously with well over 1,000 entries, you can sort of understand why when we're looking at start lists and numbers are slightly out, and the number of athletes to keep track of, it's a incredible logistical feat to get all the people in the right place and signed up and competed, timed, recorded.
Yeah, and for most of the athletes, this is often the first really big championship they've been to. Some of them will have competed regionally or zone meetings within their sub-regions, but to come to the nationals, it's a big occasion for them, and a lot of them enter a number of events to give it a go, and then of course they make changes quite late. We have rules around those changes, but so we don't actually finalise the start sheets until 90 minutes prior, because that's when the athletes can scratch right up to that time.
Right.
So it does sometimes make tracking fields a little more difficult, particularly in the qualifying stages of the competition, which we've had yesterday and the early stages of today. But once we settle into the semi-finals and finals over the next sort of this afternoon session and tomorrow, it's much easier.
So Carlin Boats, the winner of the javelin yesterday, back here again in the shotput circle. So one of the hometown girls. The locals actually had a fantastic day with Chloe Brown in the 3,000 yesterday, and Carlin throwing fantastically in the javelin.
Yeah, it was a really good finish to the finals, having one of our early finals yesterday was at 3,000 with Chloe Brown from St Cuths in Auckland, and having her sister come close behind in third place. I think she snapped through in the end. She was for fourth most of the way. So yeah, some of our young ladies that finished in that top places yesterday were unfortunately denied the opportunity to represent New Zealand and going to the World Schools Cross Country back in April.
Right.
So they'll be delighted that they've come through and managed to have some success here. That event, the World Schools Cross Country, was one of two major tours that we had to cancel for our secondary schools this year. That was to go. First, we actually had a tour scheduled to go to the Australian Track and Field Champs with the New Zealand schools team, which was in March in Sydney, which unfortunately had to be pulled. And we also had the World Schools Cross Country, which was 24 athletes going to Slovakia. So, but with what was happening in Europe, we pulled the pin on that very early March.
Yes.
So a lot of these athletes have had a lot of disappointment, but it's great to have them out here on the track, and I guess we're all really fortunate, and we live in this part of the world where we can have an event like this. In many parts of the world they can't.
Yeah, I mean, it took me through, as the organiser of this event, the last 2 weeks were you checking the news every day, making sure that there were no COVID cases in the community. I bet it must have been a bit nerve-wracking.
Yeah, actually, I sort of said to a couple of the executive on Thursday, just turn the radio off if we hear that Jacinta's going to make any special announcements. But yeah, we didn't want that. But yeah, we've put a lot of precautions in place, but we have to be at level 1 to hold an event like this. And likewise, we had to postpone it first and then cancel our schools cross country, which was scheduled in June this year. We then postponed it to September, and then we eventually had to cancel it when the country went back into level 2 and level 2.5.
Yeah.
So it's not been a good year for these young athletes, so it's great they've got this opportunity here in Tauranga in this beautiful weather that we have.
Yeah, it's fantastic to just finish off a challenging year with just such a great weekend of athletics, and it's so awesome to have schools from all around the country, even Northern Southland have come up. So yeah, it's so great to cap off a challenging year with such a great event. So Tony, well done for you and the team pulling it all together. And I can see Portia Bings arrive for her duties on the mic, so we'll
pull her in to do some of the hurdles, I think.
Yes.
She knows a little bit more about hurdling than I, Hayden, so we'll catch you when you guys need a break a little bit later in the morning.
Awesome. Thank you, Tony, and all the best for the weekend. All right, Kristen Wills of St Hilda's. Here she goes, gliding across the circle, getting that shot put out as far as she can.
Well, there we are. It's a lesson you can share with to inspire the others. Catch you later.
Good morning, Portia. Welcome along to the action this morning.
Good morning. It's a beautiful morning out there this morning. Sun's shining once again. Wind looks like it's died off a little bit. As I was running across the road to get here, it was a little bit windy, but as soon as I stepped in the stadium, it was a pretty beautiful day in here. So looking for some great athletics.
It's actually very, very pleasant in the stadium with the morning sun pouring in, and these athletes ready to drop some bombs over in the shot put circle. There we have Tapanisa Javier.
Update from the senior girls shot put. First place you got Kaya Tutu South from Westlake Girls, 16:59. Tapanisa Javier from St Andrews, 15:58. And from St Kentigans, we've got Natalia Rankin-Chetta in 15 metres 35.
So hopefully those watching picked up that update on the results. Currently the placings are Kaya Tupu South has the lead, Tapanisa Javier in second, and Natalia Rankin-Chetta of St Kent's in third. But of course we're still in those qualification rounds, so top 8 will go through and get that extra three throws. It's a tricky sentence to say this early in the morning. 3 throws.
Yeah, so I was doing a little bit of research on the shot put this morning, and I did find out interesting facts. So is it Ormiston Senior?
Yeah.
They have their very first athlete at the New Zealand secondary schools.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah,
Ormiston Senior School.
Yep, so they've been open for about 10 years, I think. This is the first time they've attended, so it's pretty exciting. Hopefully we'll see more of them in the future. It's always good to get your first athlete out there.
Yeah, so that's Arwen Solomon.
Yep, so I think she's reasonably new to athletics as well. She's getting coached by Brent Booker, who I'm trying to look to see if he's down there. I'm sure he's down there giving some great advice.
Monica Falmui, here we go in the shot put circle for throw number 2.
I don't say much about the Tauranga City Council, but if you get a ticket, don't blame us. I'd like to warn you now to shift your car probably over the Cliff Road or somewhere else. But if you're parked on the grass verge out there in the streets, take a risk, it's your risk.
So here is Arwen Solomon. So that T-shirt is the first time it's appeared at this event. Very cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Shout out to everyone from Ormiston if you're from there. Jump in the comments.
Get training for next year's secondary schools.
Yeah.
We'd love to see you out here.
Let's get a 4x4 team together.
I suggest you actually check it out, all right?
Lovely throw there. Just out towards the maybe 11 or 12 metre mark there. I'm actually loving the school shirt there. It really stands out. A couple of the schools have really similar colours, but the nice white and orange, easy to pick.
Good, eh? I like it.
There we go. So maybe we'll just get a score on that. 11:53.
So Caitlin Richardson from Waitakere.
Just opening up a little bit when she threw there, hence why it kind of went out of the segment. It's always one of those interesting things when you're learning shot put. Like we've got such a rich history in shot put, so I'm not the expert on this matter. But one of the interesting things as well is that I found when I was learning, it's such an unusual concept that you've got to face away from where you're going to throw, because everything you think about, everything else you do, you think about long jump, high jump, every other event, you're actually looking exactly where you want to go. And one of the other things about the shot put as well, it takes a little bit of time, I guess, to get your head around, is that it's not about how strong your arms are, it's about using the legs, hence why you actually face the other way. And I think obviously a few of our athletes here are pretty experienced and got their technique pretty well developed, I guess, in their technique and understand that. But I remember when I was a young athlete, that was the one thing, it blew my mind that as soon as I used my legs, I'd gain a metre or two.
Here we go, and that looks very strong from Kaya Tupu South.
Current record holder is Hana-rae Knowles in lane 2 here. From Cambridge High.
And it is one of those events where you might look at a shot put circle and think, well, it's not very big.
16:59.
Oh, well, that equals her first round throw. Exactly.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
I think I'll just double check. I'll just point out, I think the record for this event is actually 17:02. I think Madison did that in 2017.
Yeah, and Jaden Bush, when she won this event last year, through 16:59, and Kaya through 16:34 to take second. So already Kaya is
tracking nicely.
Yeah, good 20 centimetres better than last year. Which is a very good start early on. But as I was saying, Portia, the actual shot put circle is not very big, but it is all about that ability to accelerate across the circle and create a lot of momentum in a very short amount of time and transfer that momentum into the shot put. So the more you can use your legs and not just rely on that upper body strength.
Yeah, definitely, and it's definitely a speed thing. I mean, if anyone's ever seen a shot putter sprint 10 metres, they'll probably out-sprint most sprinters over 10 metres. They're extremely powerful. I think it surprises a lot of people.
Yeah.
One of my favourite things is when you go to a large event, you go to a World Champs, and you've got your shot putters warming up next to your sprinters who are doing their long and their stretches, and you just get these shot putters doing little 10-metre sprints to warm up. Yeah. And they're so explosive. I think that's the thing about shot put as well. It is extremely an extremely explosive event.
Can we set up a 10-metre race with the shot putters versus the sprinters? Can that be a thing?
I don't want to be in it because I'd definitely not win. I mean, when I run 100 metres, it takes me 88 metres to wind up.
Yeah.
From the Claims College.
All right. So back in the circle is Caitlin Maining. From Waikato Diocesan. One of the things I'm loving about this event, you can see all the tents in the background. Basically the whole other side of the stadium, which doesn't have the grandstand, is just dotted with all these school marquees. So it's so cool to see all these different schools represented, bringing out their school marquee, which is very helpful when you turn up as an athlete wondering, where's my team? Just look for your marquee. Good little tip for any PE departments out there watching. So there's Carlin Boats. So she was the winner, remember, of yesterday's javelin, senior girls javelin. There's beautiful scenes for shot put throwing.
Lane 5 of it is there. Maggie Jones from Honolulu High.
Now, Portia, did you manage to get out for your workout this morning? I was down here on the track doing my hard yards, and I was like, where's Portia?
What did you do?
It was a very hard workout of 6 times 100 quite slowly.
Hey, the track's hard on the old legs, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The older you get, the more painful it is.
Yeah. Well, I haven't done a track workout in a year exactly. So
you're going to feel that tomorrow?
Yep. I think I probably will. But no, it's good to get the wheels rolling. And part of what I was doing was a bit of research for the day. Just doing 100 in different parts of the track. Definitely the hardest 100 is that top bend. Yeah,
it's very exposed. When I was over there yesterday as well, one of the interesting things was that there's literally a gap in the trees, between the trees and the stadium, and there's kind of a motorway and I can see the water.
The harbour's right there.
The harbour, so you just get the wind sweeping off there, which is going to be super interesting for your long distance races, for your 400s. It's kind of, the wind is in the most painful place for a lot of those other events. So it'll be kind of interesting to see if it picks up today or if it stays reasonably calm. It looks pretty calm this morning. I mean, we have the senior men's pole vault going on today after having technical issues with equipment yesterday.
Yeah, so that's some really good news.
Yeah, but one of the interesting things for them is that I feel like it's actually a bit of an advantage for them because the wind yesterday was pretty strong down that back straight, and we know that the pole vaulters don't exactly love love crosswinds, and it was quite a big crosswind going on yesterday. It's a little bit calmer, so some good news for some of those athletes out there. But yeah, in short, no, I didn't get out to go for my run this morning.
No.
I wanted to do some hurdles, but in order to get out and do a hurdle session, it would have probably had to be 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever tried to run faster over hurdles at 6 o'clock in the morning.
It sounds like it.
No, so I'm hoping...
Achilles accident waiting to happen.
Exactly, so I'm kind of hoping there'll be some point, maybe late tonight, run over a few hurdles, might put some on the grass or something.
Nice.
Go start warming up with the kids.
Yeah.
A few of them might think I'm competing.
And for you, because we're about to go into the senior girls hurdles, so it's a good time to talk about it. For you, like, what does a hurdles session look like? Typically, is it more of a technique-based thing, or are you doing an actual workout over them, trying to hit splits?
Yeah, so for me now, I'm at the point where I've clearly got a lot of technical issues. So I mean, a really great example of that is getting a technical DQ at World Champs.
Right,
Nothing
okay.
tells you you've got technical issues in that, but yeah, so we definitely work on a lot of technical things now. It's just understanding rhythm. One thing I'm learning a lot, like I feel quite old to be learning about hurdles now. I've been doing it for so long, but I've never learnt so much in my life about hurdles until really this year, talking about things like rhythm, understanding it's not just the approach, it's the stride going in, but actually the strides coming off the hurdle as well, which are really important. Understanding that you want to build your base speed up so you can cruise at a quicker speed, but then there's that point where you're going too fast, especially in 4 hurdles, and you can't stay on the bend anymore and all these types of things. So yeah, I definitely now work a lot on, I guess, kind of understanding the race, understanding the technique a lot better. It's not just run and jump over, which was kind of generally, I want to say, my approach for a little while. Just run, oh yep, there's a hurdle, jump over it, it's
Jump
not that
the
high,
thing in front
not
of you.
that big of a deal.
Yeah.
But now that we've started to break it down and really look at those different elements, I'm like, all right. I can see where I've been going wrong.
Yeah, and so for those who don't know, that technical DQ that you got, that was, correct me if I'm wrong, was it the leading leg was just on the outside of the hurdle?
Yeah, so your
Or
lead
just
leg,
the inside?
so the lead leg was on the inside of the hurdle, but it can go. Your heel has to be above the wooden,
height?
the height.
Yeah.
Of the height. So what happened is that I cut the corner and I went kind of too low, so I went
Right.
around the hurdle, but my heel height wasn't high enough. So it's been like all sorts of interesting things, like understanding running wider angles and eliminating steps so I have more room, which a lot of the time you kind of think you need to put in more steps in your hurdles, and I was like, for me personally, it was actually I need to take steps out so I have more room to just fall into that rhythm. So good
I
things.
mean, yeah, for those listening, it's a really interesting thing because when you're even just running fast around a bend, it's hard to stay we saw yesterday some people having to just look down and make sure they're still in their lane. But imagine jumping things at the same time as that. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's one of those things, especially with your long hurdles. Short hurdles are a little bit different because you're always going to have unless you have something horrific goes wrong, you're always going to be hurdling the same leg. But with 4 hurdles, there's so many different variables. You've got wind, you've got depending on what lane you're in, it depends how tight the bends are. So you're always going to be changing legs. Whereas for the short hurdles, it's generally 3 or 5 strides for these young athletes. One of the interesting things, though, my mum reminded me this morning, talking about we were talking about, athletics secondary schools, the first time I came down. So one of the first ones I did was I believe it was in Wanganui, and it was my second or third 80-metre hurdle race, and I made the final. And then in the final, I tripped over, so I kind of surprised myself. I came out, and then I think I was never done hurdles before. I'd only done 1 or 2 sessions. I came about halfway down the track, and I was all of a sudden winning, freaked out, and tripped over. And that was my very first secondary schools experience.
Amazing. You're not a true track athlete until you've fully face planted into the Mondo surface. Yeah,
and the interesting thing is that people often say, oh, you do it once and you never do it again, but the problem is you do it once and you keep doing it again and again and again.
All right, so here's Hannah McGregor of Aquinas College. So now we're down to round 4. We are into round 4. So everyone's had three throws in the circle, and I can tell you, I'll try and work out who's still got the lead. So Kaitupu South still has the lead with that 16.59, and then we have Tapanisa Javier with a 15.51, and Natalia Rankinchita with a 15.35. So 15.58 for Tapanisa. So there we go. So we are down to the round 4, the business end of the shot put competition.
Yes, we will see a change in order as well. So normally our leader will have the benefit of going last in the final round. They get to have the very last row, see what the competition's like. It's a little bit of a benefit. That's why you do want to do really well in those first 3 rounds as well, just because there is normally a bit of a shuffle in order for the last 3.
Closely by William Manulilia with 54.51.
So Carlin Boats,
1 centimetre behind.
the local girl, I'm sure she's got a lot of friends and family watching her throughout the weekend.
51.28, also from Manulilia.
Multi-disciplined thrower, winning the javelin yesterday. So she's already had a successful weekend. I would love to add another medal to that in the shot put. So 12.58. That won't improve on her 12.99, which she did in the first round.
Ooh, so close to that 13-metre mark.
Monica Balmui.
And Ruin on the outside here from Westlake Girls. Lane 8, lane 7-4.
Now I believe we've got the...
Westlake in first. We'll get a time for it since you can. Lane 7.
Oh yeah, we've got the top 8 through
Cleo Loder
the
from
next
Riverside
round.
College, and lane 4 was Kayla Knowles.
We're starting to see quite a few rotational shot putters now. So it wasn't, like I said, not that I'm an expert on the history of shot put, but traditionally I don't believe there's many women that have been rotating in the past. Well, not that I've known in New Zealand anyway. I haven't really, it's not something we see that often. I've actually seen quite a few of the young athletes down there today using the old rotation technique.
So here's Tapanisa, currently sitting in second position with that 15.58. Let's see if she can extend that with this throw. Looks like it's just short of the 15-metre mark. So it's great to have your company here on Sky Sport Next. Thanks for tuning into the coverage. And once again, like we've been saying all weekend long, make sure you're sharing the link with your friends and whānau, with your schoolmates. We'll be live all weekend long, bringing the action here from Tauranga, so it'd be great to have as many eyeballs on the screen as possible. Hit that subscribe button on the YouTube channel. Make sure you get those reminders when we're going live. So Kaitupu South is our current competition leader with 2 throws at 16.59. All of her throws this morning have put her in the lead, so she's been constantly 16. So her series so far is 16.10, 16.59, 16.59 and 16.38. Right, Ormiston, where you at?
Hannah Knight, the Owaha College in 5. Brianna Cosgrove, Cambridge High School in 6. And Marilis Whiteman, Kuranui College in lane 7.
So one of the things I was thinking about, we were talking at the Nationals earlier this year in March, was about how they always put the shot put on in the morning, but shot putters don't like throwing in the morning. So seems to be a bit of a trend that's happening
Yeah.
here. Once again, the shot put falls first thing in the morning. It's always interesting because a lot of shot putters and a lot of throwers, I guess, generally don't feel awake enough in the morning.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, it's just a thing. So to see these girls out there this morning, consistently, very consistent as well across the board.
So Elizabeth Hewitt, yeah, I mean, you'd be up pretty early to get fully warmed up for this, because this is not a sport that you want to just roll out of bed and biff a shot put. You want to be well primed and ready to roll.
Yeah, and exactly, especially thinking about, you've got to do those first 3 throws and you've got following 3, and you really want to do well, make sure that you're into that final with those first 3 throws. You've really got to get out there and get the mark on the board the first, 1 or 2 throws. You do really need to be warmed up. And I guess in terms of the whole warm-up process for some of the throwers as well, it's always slightly different from the runners. I don't think they're going out and running 2 or 3 Ks to warm up, but there will still be a process, I'm sure, that's, like every other event, very elaborate.
So either on Thursday or yesterday, if you purchased a T-shirt, just regarding the T-shirts, if you purchase a T-shirt here...
So Monica Falmui, so she's sitting in 4th place at the moment with a 13.30 best. So let's see if she can improve that. 15.35 would get her into 3rd place, so there's a bit of a jump that she'd need to make. That looks like it'll be out in the 13s as well. She's been pretty consistent with a 12.66 and then a 13.30 and then a 12.74. We are in round 5 at the moment, and that was a 12.21. Oh, just stepping out.
Just losing balance there.
Which would you say a rotational technique does run the risk of losing the balance, just stepping outside of the circle?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess that as well, there's probably a little bit more room for error, but then in the same way is more possibility to build up speed. I know a lot of the men internationally, or pretty much all the men internationally, use rotation techniques. So, like I said, it's just an interesting observation that I've had coming in today, realising that rotation is definitely becoming something that we're seeing a lot of the young athletes do. And even just at club level, at club nights for juniors as well. I noticed that a couple of the juniors that have been, 10, 11-year-olds that are learning now, a lot of the young girls are also just learning to rotate straight away, not glide. So I'm not 100% sure why. Someone may be able to give us some more technical advice on why women are turning to the rotation technique.
Totally. I mean, it sort of shifts the dynamic of what you're trying to do.
Yeah, I wonder if it's one of those things as well. It'd be real interesting to see if there's a big...
Oh, good throw there from Kaiatupu South, our competition leader. That might be out close to that 18 mark. She's having a good close. That was make sure you get that measurement right, buddy, because I know that was a good throw. Let's have another look at this. So Kaiatupu South, using that rotational technique that we're talking about. She walks back, makes sure it's a clear...
17, that's...
17.54, so that's a huge improvement. She's been low to mid-16s all morning long, and there, boom, 1 metre adds to her lead, 17.54.
Yeah, so we'll have to get confirmation, but I believe that would be the national... Would that be the national record, potentially?
It could well be a...
Oh, yeah, look, we're getting the officials standing there. They're going to be getting the confirmation. It doesn't look like it's potentially a national record there.
Some have driven or flown from all over the country to come for the weekend at their own expense.
So talking about that, once we get confirmation, we'll let everyone know straight away whether or not it was an official national record. But one of the things I was thinking about as well, with a lot of the young women saying to rotate, is that going to change the dynamics of shot put? Are we going to see more? Are we going to see more records go? Because, like you said, they've changed the dynamic. They've added a different element where the traditional glide, maybe they're not picking up as much speed, so maybe we'll start to see these records fall more often. But she's got a smile on her face, so she knows.
Yeah, and rightly so, because that is an incredible throw. After 16.1, 16.59, 16.59, And then in round 5, here's another replay
Next
of
event
it.
on the program
You
is
can
the
see that momentum that she generated
girls,
with
1500
that
metres,
rotational technique, and then
free
just boom, powers it off.
this event 156 in your program, due to start 9:55.
And also, just to point out as well, it's a very, very, very strong record history for the shot put as well. So
Yeah.
that throw is really, looking at international standards as well, because we know that Madison attended the World Champs last year, and she only broke the record in 2017. So it's great throw in there by Kaya.
Let me do some digging around and I'll find out the...
I want to say that Valerie held it prior to that. And so I know that Valerie still holds the junior one.
Just announcement for our local famous sports shoe shop, Smith Sports Shoes. Bruce and Alison Trebilco.
So we're just waiting here at the senior women's shot put. We've had Kaya throw a 17.54, just waiting for the confirmation of whether or not that was a national record.
And also at the Mount Maunganui. Go and see them. I'm sure they'll cut a deal for you. And thank you for the Trebilcos and Smith Sports Shoes.
Another update for you from the senior girls shot put. Unofficially, we have a new championship record by Kaia's Tupu South from Westlake Girls with a throw of 17 metres 54. The previous was 17.02.
Yeah, so just heard over the stadium announcement that is an unofficial championship record. So 7.54 is Kaya Tupu South's mark, and what was it, 17.02 was the previous? So that's fantastic. Putting half a metre on it. Do you know the implement they're using? What?
3 kg.
3 kg.
Yeah, so once again, for a couple of these girls, it'll be the difference between they throw 4 and they throw 3. So I don't think that the records, someone who's in stats will be able to let us know, but I don't think the records line up with the Open Nationals, because Open Nationals throw 4.
Yeah. And so in front of me here, I've got the New Zealand under 20, under 19 records, which are Valerie Adams records. So I'm guessing they would be 4 kg under 20s?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's also that thing to remember as well, is that we talked a little bit about it yesterday, that sometimes when the shot put is lighter, it's not necessarily a benefit, especially if it's your event.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a really good example is hurdles. So if you're hurdling, if you put the hurdles down lower for me, it's not going to make it easier for me to hurdle. It's actually going to make it harder. I'll probably end up tripping quite a lot.
You still jump the same height.
Yeah, you're still going to be jumping the same height and using the same technique. And there'll be a lot of that will probably happen for these shot putters as well, who are used to throwing 4 kgs.
All right, so Carlin Boats there with her final throw in the shot put circle after a successful day yesterday in the javelin.
So it's impressive to see these athletes coming out and doing double events and being competitive across multiple disciplines. I mean, it's always one of the hardest things is always coming off a win in another event and trying to keep up on that high and bring it into the next one. Just outside the sector there. So we are into our final round of the senior women's shot put here at New Zealand secondary schools. We've had our current leader, Kaya. She's got an unofficial New Zealand secondary schools record of 17.54, which is about half a metre further than the prior record, as they come into their last round.
All right, so this is where things could get interesting. We've basically decided our medalists. They're Natalia Rankin, Cheetah, Tapanisa Javier, and Kaya Tupu South. Let's see if Tapanisa can respond to that fantastic throw from Kaya. Can she extend on her 15.58? Here she goes. Oh, it's good. She gave it a good whack. It might be out close to that 16 metre mark. It definitely won't threaten the 17.54, but maybe a slight improvement at 15.58. It's always tricky to tell with these angles. Even though like the metre mark is right there.
We're bound to get it wrong. 15:58.
Yeah, so 15:58 locks it in. Here she is. She's already claimed the gold. She's got the unofficial new championship record of 17:54 for a victory lap. Kaitupu South. Oh, well, that could be out beyond 17 metres as well. This girl's on fire. She's just had an absolutely fantastic run with 16.1, a little opener, then a 16:59, 16:59, 16:38, 17:54, and that was a 17:01. So just to reinforce that she is in hot form, she finishes off with a 17:01, which would have almost broken the previous record anyway. So she's very happy, and rightly so. That's a massive result for her. This will be her final year, I believe, at this level, and then it's on to the senior ranks, which she's currently placed fourth, throwing the senior implement in New Zealand. So in a very competitive landscape.
Yeah, really exciting future there for Kaya to come out and break the, like we said, what is probably a very rich history in our New Zealand secondary schools shot put record. To come out and better it by half a metre is extremely impressive. And like I said, to be still at school and in the fourth, did you say fourth?
Yeah,
fourth
so
in
she's
the
done
senior
a
ranks as well.
15:44 with the senior shot put, which puts her, of course, Valerie Adams is leading those ranks this year. Madison Lee Wesh is in 18:08, and then Tori Owers with a 15:96, and then back to Kaya. So well done, Kaitupu South, claiming the first medal of the morning, the first senior medal. She got second last year and comes back to get a gold, and just confirmation on the other placings. Natalia Rankinchita in third with a 15:40, and then a Tapanisa Javier with a 15:58, which she started with and finished with. Good way to bookend your run of throws. The pole vault, the long-awaited pole vault. Finally, we get to see these boys jump into the Tauranga blue sky down there on the eastern end of the ground.
Yeah, so definitely after a few technical issues yesterday with the equipment, the senior boys pole vault got postponed, but it was a little bit postponed to an unknown time. So these athletes have done extremely well to just get out there, take the punches as they came, warm up, and just, they didn't really have a lot of confirmation yesterday, so it was a little bit of they weren't sure what was happening. But it's good to see them out there today. I do think, not that I'm an expert on pole vault, but I do think these are better conditions for pole vault today. It was a little bit windy today. It looks like they have a little bit of a headwind down there on the back straight, which is not a bad thing for a lot of these vaulters. It'll just be an easier push away of the pole as they go over. I have seen a few times at the Nationals at the beginning of the year, it was quite windy and we saw the pole actually blowing back and hitting the upright over. So it doesn't look like they'll have any of those problems today.
Underway there in
We've got a strong field in our pole vault.
Yeah, so we've got 6 athletes lining up. We've got Josh Teal from Christchurch Boys, Josh Woodhead from Hastings Boys, Joshua Bull from Catholic College. I don't know where Catholic College is. Sorry about that, Josh. Charlie Cameron of Christ College, Vincent Chen of Burnside, and Ruben Vogel of Takapuna.
Yeah, perfect. So we can see just the athletes down the back there just warming up. They've got the bungee up. A lot of the time they put the bungee up instead of the bar just for warm-ups. A lot of it's about pushing up through the bar, trying to get your feet to hit the bar to get the height. They're not necessarily trying to go over it. So sometimes they will push that bungee up really high in the warm-ups as well. So pole vault's one of those interesting things that I guess both of us have been slowly learning over the last couple of years.
Well, your sister's doing it, isn't she, as her sort of main main athletic endeavour?
Yeah, well, she still does a little bit of everything, but she's definitely got a little bit more into pole vault and she's getting more to the technical side.
Yeah.
Now, so I'm starting to understand a little bit more, and just understanding the complexities of pole vault is it's mind blowing because it's a combination of physics, athletics, and just adrenaline, just being a pure daredevil as well, because the amount of times you see these athletes, if they get it wrong and they end up falling back onto the track, I mean, it's not for the faint-hearted, but when they nail it, it looks amazing. It is amazing. And I think one of the exciting things as well for pole vaulters, when you see them actually nail it as well, they already know halfway up. You know, once they've hit it, they've got the right bend in the pole. You can almost see some of them celebrating as they're going up.
Yeah. You feel that momentum going up, and like you say, you put yourself 5 meters high on anything, and you're going to be freaking out knowing that you have to come down. And there's some parts that aren't padded near the pads. So.
Yeah, so it's definitely not for the faint-hearted. But one of the exciting things for pole vault in New Zealand as well is because we've got such great role models, and we've developed such a great system as well. We are starting to see more athletes coming to the secondary schools to do pole vault. So we do see a range of abilities, but it's just awesome to see that we're actually attracting more people, because there's been years before, I remember when I was at school, only 1 or 2 people would do pole vault. And I believe in the senior women's later on, we have about 14.
Amazing.
14 athletes as well, so very large fields for pole vault.
Totally. It's so good to see, and it's one of those extreme sports that is a great spectator sport. Like if you see pole vault happening, you go down and check it out, because it's great to watch. So you can see in the foreground, that's the junior girls prelims for the 1500. So if you want to keep track of results, be sure to jump on the New Zealand Secondary Schools Athletics website, and you'll be able to follow all the results and know what's coming up when. So on the field, we'll be focused on the pole vault. There's also a long jump competition that we will hopefully be able to jump across to, and also the boys hammer is happening right at the moment. I'm not sure if we're going to get some coverage on that.
It is on the backfield just for safety reasons. It's not on the main stadium.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's sort of one of those things. We've got 4 field events happening at the same time, with some track events about to start soon as well, so it's a matter of where you point the cameras.
Yeah, definitely. We do have a bit of long jump going on as well, kind of down by the pole vault area, so we might be able to capture a bit of that. But interestingly enough, the meet record, the secondary school record, is held by 2 people. So Nigel Park in 1990 and Jesse Bryant in 2000 both jumped 7 meters 36. So it's quite unusual for athletics to have 2 people to hold the same record, to have the exact to the centimetre jump. So we definitely will be looking hopefully towards that record today, maybe. Quinn Hartley, 7:11 is his seed time.
Nice.
Or his seed distance as well. So we do have a couple of athletes in that senior men's long jump.
We've got a handful of plus 7 metre jumpers.
Like I said, it's great conditions today for long jump. Long jump's one of those events as well. Oh, we can see it there. You can actually turn it around. You can just go to whichever, well, obviously it's up to the officials as well, and depending on what other things going on, but a lot of the time you have the benefit of being able to switch around and go with a tailwind, which is a massive benefit in long jump.
Oh, there'd be nothing worse than leaving the ground only to jump into the teeth of a gale force Wellington headwind.
Cool. So we see the bar going up there in the pole vault. It looks like they are ready to start the competition. See all the boys gathering around the officials, she's trying to get all their upright heights, and also the uprights move back and forth, so depending on where you take off versus how stiff your pole is, you might move the uprights back, I want to say 0.8 or 0.5. So there is quite a few different things to be thinking about for these athletes as well. And there's a lot of work with the officials. A lot of up and down, climbing, putting the poles back up, moving the poles. So yes, it's a pretty demanding sport.
And so we will be running conjointly with the junior boys pole vault competition as well. So we've got 4 athletes in that division. So we'll skip across to back and forth between the long jump and the pole vault.
Yeah, so it looks like we are running potentially 2 long jump hits at the same time. We can see smack bang there in the middle of your screen. That looks like that's 1 long jump hit, and then to the right, it looks like it's potentially another one. So we do have a very, very large list. We have 38 entries in the long jump.
Shall we rattle through those? May as well. We've got a little gap in the program. How about we tag team this one, Portia? So we've got Quinn Hartley, Charles Annals, Corbin Laban Palmer, Saltia Misa, Angus Lever, Josh Woodhead, Jamie Chambers Stewart, Quinn Andis, Adam Stack, Seth Palmerini, Max Tiorua, Hunter Archbold, Joshua Bull, Jamie Kearns, Brad Spicer, Rithik Kimani, Ellie Leifer, Joelle Vinicardi Dina, Zach Vainu, Zam Santos, Josh Nicholson, Chris Pace, Levi Ferguson, Ice Williams. I'm just going to finish the list, Portia. Ethan McKenzie, Charlie Milford, Sam McDonald, Kyan Melville, Kane DeVries, Taylor Singer, Jackie Dye, Samuel Giroux, Robin McEwen, Setavini Lossi, Sam Cartwright, Ethan Calder-Cass, Dylan Powell, and Shay Tindley Welch.
Nice, you deserve a medal for that.
Yeah, that was quite a mouthful.
That was solid effort as well.
38 athletes. So you can see this is going to be a reasonably long competition. We're trying to get a look on some results. They're just coming through as we speak, so it looks like they're just kicking off that competition. Oh, so we are actually into the long jump finals. So are we top 8? Just checking with our producer.
Remember, qualify, and the fastest 4 of all 3 of these go to the final.
Yes, you can see there in the
College.
You can see there in the background that there is a bit of a crossword. Oh, there we go, posing for a photo.
Got to work the camera. There's Eli Leafy from Christchurch Boys. Moment in the spotlight.
Sophie Weber, Taupo Nuia 2, Tia College in 2nd position. But it's a bit of a, as I said earlier on, looks like down on the inside here in the blue.
So for all these athletes, we're looking for how well they really run up. So the consistency in the run up is actually depends, it's everything, right? So if you change your run up, you're not going to hit that board. That board is very, very small. There's not a lot of room for error. So one of the difficult things with long jump is a lot of people think you've just got to run and jump. It's not that difficult. But, you know, if you go out too hard in your first 4 or 5 steps, that's going to alter how close you are to the board, which might mean you have to chop at the other end or vice versa, overstride. So one of the things that we look for in long jump is definitely consistency in that run up down the runway. One of the things that is quite difficult to deal with is the wind, because when you think about consistency, the wind is definitely a factor which the athletes have to actively think about, talk to the coach, think, do I need to adjust my run up, do I need to go back because there's a big tailwind, or do I need to go forward because there's a big headwind?
They are definitely spreading as we speak. Lulu's still in front.
All right, Charles Annals, a 7.10 performer. Here he goes, using that sort of tail cross-ish wind.
Got the white flag there. So one of the really cool things that they do at international meets as well is that they have a camera down by the board, so you can see how close some of those international guys get to that little bit of green putty, which is the dead zone.
And Sophie Weber.
See our officials there pulling up the white flag. Yellow flag, by the way, is a 15-second warning, I believe. So most athletes have 1 minute between jumps. I believe when there's 38 of them, I think it might be 30 seconds, but as we get into the final, athletes are generally allowed 1 minute after their name is called. When you see the yellow flag, that means you've got 15 seconds. Very rarely does that actually happen.
Yeah.
15 seconds is a long time when you're standing there looking out the barrel of the long jump.
Angus Lever of Palmerston North Boys High School. It might be Liver. Yeah, I bet everyone at Palmerston North Boys High School is screaming at the screens right now. It's either Lever or Liver. But good energy as he approaches the board.
See the athletes wrapping up there in the background. So it obviously is a little bit colder over there than we're letting on.
A bit more affected by the breeze. Officials doing a fantastic job. I always say, like, these weekends, man, they rely so much on these volunteers who give up their weekends, come from all over the country, and they have to be officially trained to do the job. They have to know exactly what they're doing, and it's one of the great assets of athletics in our country, just an amazing team of officials who know what they're doing and do a fantastic job out there in all sorts of weather. Quinn Anders.
So we're seeing a little bit of a combination of different jumping techniques going on. We're seeing a few hangs and a few hitch kicks going on. So hitch kicks are the ones where they almost look like they're running through the air. That's quite common when they're heading out towards that 7 metre mark, just to try gain just a little bit momentum, stay on balance. When I used to long jump, I'd always just hang, and it's quite common. Not that many girls tend to hitch kick. Although I think it might be a little bit like the shot put. As women kind of progress in the sport as well, we are seeing them kind of adapt some of those different techniques as well. But generally, like I said, if you're jumping towards the 650 mark, there's not that, you don't have enough time to do a hitch kick normally.
Right, head down, standing up. Just adjusting his stride slightly and straight into a forwards roll. Finishing well. Love it.
Just acted like nothing happened. So much style. That is actually one of the first times I've seen that style.
Yeah.
After talking about doing a hang or a hitch kick, or you can do the forward roll.
Gymnast in the making gets the red flag.
So one of the interesting things that we saw there actually is that he actually looked down at the board. So this is the hard thing about long jump, is that you need to hit the board, but you can't look at the board, because that was a perfect example of when you look down at the board, your body's in the wrong position to actually go up. You end up forward rolling.
Josh Woodhead of Hastings Boys.
Final heat underway. So yes, the first heat was run in the time of 1:57, and
got the white flag there.
Johnson 4:54. And the third position, 4:57. So same as the winner of the first heat. So this one's got a bit of pace on, as you can see, going down the back straight for the first time.
Eli Leafy jumped 6:29 in his previous jump.
So 6:29, that always betters his seed score, seeding distance of 6:15. So great competition for him.
Yeah.
And I guess that's a big thing that you want to do at these competitions. These athletes just want to come out here, and regardless of if you're in a medal contention or not, reality is that you're out here to, you want to get PBs. This is a big event. You've been training all year. And that's why you're out here to get PBs. It's always awesome to see when we see athletes out there beating their seed marks, getting PBs. We've already seen a record this morning, an official record.
2, 4, 6, 8. In the lead bunch.
Yeah, here's Adam Stack. And you're right, it is one of the great things about athletics. You're ultimately competing against yourself, trying to the absolute best performance from yourself. And then there's this other competition with the other people around you. So I've always, being more of a middle to the back of the packer, looked at it as if I can focus on what I can get out of it and focus on my own performance, then let's see what that means to the greater scheme of what place you finish in.
Yeah, and 100%, there are going to be people out there who are just screaming at you right now, being like, that's not the attitude of an athlete. But
Where's your fighting spirit, Hayden?
Doesn't sound like the man who won the 100 metres.
The Taranaki 2019 senior men's 100 metre champion. By the way, Jacob Stockwell beat me by about 4 seconds in that same race, running in the junior division. So that just gives you a gauge on what sort of speed I was running.
Yeah, but you went out there, you focused on yourself, you didn't worry about your placing.
I know.
You got a medal.
And it was about 5 minutes before running an 800 metre race.
Warm up, right?
Yeah. Standing start.
Standing start.
I can teach you a lot about a good standing start if you...
See, I didn't even know you're allowed to have a standing start in 100 metres.
Oh, maybe I should have been disqualified.
Thought at least the 3
Breaking
points.
my heart here. All right, so back to the action. Here's Charles Annals. He's ranked number 2, just behind Quinn Hartley, who's coming in with a seed mark of 7.11.
Kerry's still in front. Pick up on the outside here, I think it's in the red colours there. 12:03 Westlake girls, I think, in the second position. So 1131 on the inside there. There's Eliza Squire, Wellington East, and the shorter stature there. And Zara Geddes in 4th position. So the 4 that have broken away there, they go back to the start, getting back to the start line on their final lap.
Here he goes, Charles Annals, getting those arms pumping, generating that good speed, good approach to the board.
Got the red flag there, no jump, so he must have just gone over on the board.
This position is trying hard to catch them.
And just going through as the counting those steps, getting a rough gauge of what he jumped, maybe.
Yeah, potentially. One of the interesting things as well is that we just actually saw the flag blowing back towards him, so it looks like it's actually changed to a bit of a headwind down there. So those are the types of things that play a lot on the accuracy and consistency for a lot of these long jump athletes. If they have a tailwind, they might be going to need to go back. Headwind, they might need to come forward. And as we go on through the rounds as well, you start to get pumped, where everyone else is sitting, who you want to beat. So there's that tendency to want to run harder, and it doesn't really necessarily lead to a better jump. It's almost about staying relaxed and staying consistent, especially at the ends of these competitions.
Angus Lever, here he goes. From Palmerston North Boys High, picks up the white flag. And this is definitely so we're into round 5 now. So
we're looking at, are we doing top 8?
Yeah, we're down to the top 8 now.
Nice, really nice. Saw a hit forward, nice.
Right on the board.
Yeah, right on the board. So one of the things is that we'll often see athletes just half a metre behind, just jump straight off the track. It's happened to me on many occasions. Sometimes that's your only option. But there is nothing better than hitting the board in long jump, and when you really strike it, and it sounds great, it feels great, it is just the best feeling.
First place was Liam Wolf from Manurewa High, 56.11 metres. Second place, also from Manurewa High, was William Mamelelia, 54.51. And in third place, also from Manurewa High School, is Damien Amay with 54.12.
All right, this is Quinn Andis, jumped 6.31 in his previous round. Unfortunately, in front of us, we don't have the results from the first 3 rounds, so we can't give you a definitive placing order.
So he looked like he opened just a little. He opened up a little bit there when he was in there. If he just swept through a little bit more, he may have got a few more centimetres on the distance. He doesn't look super happy. It's a great thing about athletes. You can always tell by their body language. Yeah, so you can see him there just almost. He should have just kept sweeping through. But he just pulled out at the last minute. One of the cool things that I saw at World Champs is when they have the sandpit, so they don't have someone there with a rake, they just have a machine, and it just runs straight over the sand and straight back. Like, it's just a big silicon.
Amazing.
Yeah, it is the most satisfying thing to watch. I'm sure the officials love it as well, not having to get in there with a rake.
All right, here we go. Quinn Hartley leans back, eyes up the runway. Gets his speed up. Those good strides going. Great flight through the air. So he had a missed mark on his previous jump. We're unsure of what he's done previously, as we're just picking up the action in the long jump now that we're into the final 3 rounds. Here we go. It's a bit of a summary. Now they're just the final 3 rounds that you can see on screen. So we don't have their top 8, and we don't see their previous three jumps. And I've got a 6.60 coming through for Quinn Hartley, so that's solid. That's one of the top that we've got on our results sheet. So we've also got a 6.80 from Angus Lever. And what else have we got? Charles Annals with a 6.56. So from what we can tell, they are the top marks, but there may well have been some earlier top marks in the first 3 rounds. All right, so Matthew Beeling, here he goes, his second jump.
And again, going for the...
I like it. I like it. From Silverstream, St. Pat's Silverstream.
Maybe he's inventing a new technique. Next year will come out, all the athletes will be in the forward roll.
It's very parkour, isn't it?
Yeah, it definitely is.
Just
so smooth.
Not letting yourself absorb all that momentum, but
it's like
being water.
Exactly. It's
rolling.
like you don't even think twice that he's forward rolling. You know what I mean? We saw it the first time, we're like, oh, but there was no shock because he's so good at it.
3 heats. First 4 again, and fastest 4.
So you can see the flags in the background there. Looks like it's a bit of crosswind, a bit all over the place for the athletes today.
All right, so Eli Leafy, this will be his final jump of the day. Well, in the long jump anyway. Just bouncing on his toes, now into his stride. Really using those arms to get up to speed. Gets the white flag on that one. Let's see if it's going to improve on his 6.29 from the previous round.
King's College is sneaking through in the red colours.
Just a ball of energy in the air. Arms and legs trying to get every inch out of that jump.
Other athletes waiting anxiously to hear the distance read out, see if the orders are changing, what they need to do. So that's the benefit of having doing well in the first 3 rounds, is that when you reshuffle the order, if you've jumped the furthest, you get to jump very last. So you know what you're up against, you know what you need to do, or you know that you've already won in some cases.
And just confirmation that Jason Woodhead, who was set to do his final jump, has actually retired from the competition. So hopefully he's okay. Might be saving himself for later in the weekend. But here is Adam Stack. He's had a sequence of 6.36, 6.46. Let's see if he can go better again in his final jump.
They're looking around, so they're just when you're third and fourth and fourth position.
You see they're just quite a bit behind the board there. Behind the board's better than over the board, but just jumping off the track, so he would have lost a fair bit of distance there.
Just by the angle that he projected out at?
Or just from taking off so far behind the board as well,
sure.
yeah. Because when we saw on the replay, he was at least a foot, from my perspective, at least a foot out from the board.
So 6:47 there for Adam Stack. So 1 centimetre improvement on his previous jump. So maybe left 20 centimetres or so, 30 centimetres on the track.
There's definitely more there.
And here's Charles Annals. We know he's got a 6.56 in the bag. He may have a better performance than that we may not have seen.
Here's a 7 metre jumper, so see if he can pull it out of the bag. See his mates giving him the old clap. The only thing about the clap is that some people like the clap. I personally don't like the clap, but there's always that person that claps too fast.
Runs through it. So there's Charles Annals. His day in the long jump pit is done.
So that was quite interesting, because one of the things that we just saw there as well is that, it was really hype. Got the crowd behind him, got his mates clapping, last jump of the day, and he probably put a little bit more energy into that run up. So when he actually came down that runway, it was inconsistent to what he'd been doing the whole time before. And that's the risk with long jump as well, right? You get in there, you get so amped, and then you overshoot the board because you have been inconsistent. You should have moved your run up back if you were going to go out that hard and things like that. So there is always that risk as well of when you get so hyped, especially in these last rounds, and especially when the score, especially when the distances are all so close as well. You only need 1 or 2 centimetres to get a medal. That's kind of when you're actually probably most at risk of getting those no jumps.
Angus Lever from Palmy Boys. Here he goes, his final jump of the day. Can he get that run up right? He looks pretty happy about it. Looks back at the mark. Looks like they're not going to take a measurement. Maybe just overstrided. Did he get a white flag?
Oh, there you go. Yep, he got the white flag. Yeah, I was going to say, it must have been very close. It looked like a great takeoff. Smack bang in the middle of the board there.
So that was a 1 centimetre improvement on his previous jump of 6.47. Goes up to 6.48, but it won't replace his 6.8, which was in round 4. We're moving on to Quinn Andis for his final jump. We know he's got a 6.31. He may have had a longer jump than that in one of the earlier rounds. And just as a bit of cloud cover comes in, as we've got some heats of the 1500s going around, I'm sure those boys in the junior 1500s won't be complaining about a little bit of cloud cover. But here we go, Quinn Andis on the long jump gets out for his final jump of the day from Shirley Boys High.
Angus Severe from Kashmir High.
So a well-judged run-up, hitting the board nicely.
So there's 4 there, and a 5th one with the red colours has still got a chance.
And can confirm that was a 6.28.
Athletes are out in front.
6.28 there for Quinn Andis. Now we're down to our final 2. Now earlier we had Matthew Beeling do a 6.84. Now on our results sheet that's been colour-coded in fluoro green, which I assume means that he's in first place with that. So that means Quinn Hartley, he's got a 6.6 from the previous round. Can he improve by 25 centimetres and nab that first place position? Here he goes.
Ethan Friend from St Peter College in Gore. He's still in 5th position there, but still keeping a tab on those first 4 at the start line. 300 metres to run.
Possibly just falling back on his landing a little.
Yeah, looked like he fell back just a little bit. Also looked like he took off the board just behind the board, a couple, maybe a foot or so behind him. So he definitely lost a little bit of distance there, but in saying that, it was a safe jump as well, which is...
And I can confirm, 6.77, so it was an improvement, but not enough to nudge him past that 6.84 of this man on screen, who we believe is our competition leader. We definitely stand to be corrected on that. So we'll try and get confirmation as soon as we can on the standings there.
So this is one of the awesome things about long jump and all the field events. If you're in first place, you know you've just got one more jump. There is absolutely no pressure because you've already secured it. You can just go out there and do whatever you want.
And here he is, what we think is a victory lap. Matthew Beeling.
He seems happy, regardless.
Yeah, no dive roll required. High fives all around. Competition done and dusted. So there we have it, the senior boys long jump. We'll try and give you an update on the exact placings.
Medal presentation to the medal 10 please for the boys hammer-throw.
Looks like there's a little bit of a sore back there.
Yeah.
Liam Nehok.
So, judging by the hugs all around, you got to think that this man's just taken out the title. So we think that 6.84 was enough to give him the victory. Tricky wind conditions out there, like we've been saying all day. It's sort of sometimes a tailwind, sometimes a headwind, gusty on and off.
Yeah, at least one of the benefits for a lot of these athletes is it is very warm out there.
Yeah.
So as we said last year when we were snugged up, rugged up,
yeah,
snow jackets on in Wellington, this is a big improvement for a lot of these athletes.
In Wellington, I was wearing every item of clothing that I bought every day.
I had a snow jacket on.
And this time it's the opposite. We're in this like tight, confined little commentary booth, with the tin roof at the top of the grandstand.
It's a little glass house. Of course, we do have the senior men's pole vault. It is in conjunction with the junior boys pole vault going on in the background. So that was postponed to today from yesterday. There were a few technical issues with the equipment. It's panning out to be probably for a bit of an exciting competition back there. I do think it's a bit of a benefit for them today. Yesterday it was very gusty down that back straight yesterday. We did see some little mini tornadoes picking up dust clouds and all sorts. So it's a bit calmer today, although there is still a bit of a wind going on. We also have on the track at the moment is the junior...
Yeah, junior boys 1500 metre prelims. So getting out there, getting their weekend rolling. A lot of these boys may be doubling up with 3Ks or road races. And so there we go. Over at the pole vault, there's a happy man going clear. Try and get an update on some heights as well, if we can. Giving the coach a excessively aggressive high five, as you should when you get a PB. So 325.
You've got to remember as well, for a lot of these athletes, they will be fairly new to pole vault as well. So, you know, all those little milestones to get out here, a big competition, they don't have... Nice, great clearance there. So they don't have a lot of large pole vault competitions in New Zealand. It's not a massive sport. There's not a big competition on every day. So for a lot of these athletes, this may be one of their first large pole vaulting competitions, and it's so different to what it is like on a Saturday when you go down to a local meet. They have to do call room for 90 minutes, they have to bring down their own poles and equipment, and they have to get it all checked in. It's just the process is so different for a lot of these athletes, so it's a big experience for a lot of them as well.
Quinn Harvey, 6 metres 77.
Vincent Chen, one of our senior boys competitors. So he had a clearance at 3 metres, a third time clearance at 3:15, and now on to 3:25. got the iPad there to do immediate replays. This is one of the great things about modern technology. No more like the old VCR and wait till you get home and be able to analyse your jump.
Also, I was thinking about yesterday, we were talking about trying to get live results from the field events. I was like, we need to get them on the iPads. Just filling in the score so it feeds directly to us and we can give live updates constantly.
Absolutely. We've got a little progression of a few more data feeds coming into us today as far as field events that we're getting updated on.
Yeah, some things in athletics are still very manual. We did see the old tape measure come out when I was thinking yesterday we saw the old laser measure. And today I saw the old tape measure come back out. So
love it.
Yeah. So for a lot of these athletes in our pole vault as well, we will see them kind of jump around all over the place. It is quite a hard event to follow because we'll see some of them skip heights. And to be honest, if you're an athlete who's going to be jumping 5 metres and our start height or height at the moment is 3 metres 25, you might just jump in and do some random heights at 4 metres just to get a little bit of a warm up in as well. So we will see kind of athletes jump in and out and might be a little bit all over the place. But nevertheless, we'll try our best to keep everyone up to date what's happening. The bar is currently at 3:20.25. This is Vincent Chen's second attempt. We just saw him miss his first attempt a couple of minutes ago. So every athlete gets 3 attempts at each height.
The Westlake boys have been doing a bit of distance running.
So this is the first of our senior boys to open up his campaign. Came in at 3 metres, and here's his second attempt at 3:25. Oh, he had the height, just not quite getting that projection over the bar.
Yeah, one of the interesting things, though, drill that we see a lot of these athletes do as well is it's like a drill that they use to really push off and use their shoulders to kind of get that lift as well. When you're very new at pole vault, obviously it's not something you can just automatically do. There's a lot of training and stuff that goes into that. And it just looks like he's just not quite getting that like last little push off. We'll see it as the some of the more, I guess, experienced athletes come through as well. We'll see them start to use that technique a bit more.
So yeah, great example there of the importance of having the coach right nearby and being able to give you those little tips. You got one more chance at the height. Just refine those little things.
Yeah, it's about refining, and one of the big things as well when you're an athlete, especially in such a technical event, is that you can't necessarily see or feel what's going on, what's wrong, and all those types of things as well. So it's really important for a lot of these technical events to have your coach trackside, giving you, tips, advice, and telling you what they're seeing.
And I must apologise if I get some of the pronunciation of the names wrong. Come and see me because I like to get them right. But it is handwriting and it is challenging. Tony Rogers presenting, William Manuelila from Hana-rae High in a 54.51.
So is this our senior men's hammer?
It must be. So yeah, apologies that we were unable to bring coverage of the senior hammer being on the other field.
Walt it is, I think. Also, Hana-rae High. Well done.
So yeah, Liam Knock Wolf taking out the competition.
Awesome effort by Hana-rae High there. All three taking out first, second, and third. And hammer is not an easy event to be teaching at school as well. So congratulations to those boys.
So yeah, Liam will definitely be happy with that because he got third last year behind Nicholas Kinney and moving up into first place. So well done, Liam, taking home a gold, and I'm sure we'll see more of Liam in the shot put circle. Sure all those guys will double up in the shot put, discus and hammer.
So we're at the senior men's pole vault. The bar is at 3:25, and I believe this is Vincent Chen's final attempt.
Here he goes. Come on, Vincent. He's had those talks to the coach. He's looked at the iPad, see what's going on. Can he do this final attempt at 3:25?
Oh,
Yes.
nice.
Whew.
He looks relieved.
Gotta love that. He was clear first time at 3 meters, clear third time at 3:15, and now clear third time at 3:25.
And he's just got like a little bit more push off his shoulders in that one, just to kind of pop him up, because we were seeing him kind of get almost in the right angles. He just wasn't quite getting the right trajectory, like you said before. So they look like, you know, whatever he's doing with his coach there on the iPad, the coach has given him some advice. He's taken it on board and he's implemented it. And there is nothing better than getting something on the third attempt.
Yeah.
Like this party, that is great to get clean sweep, but the adrenaline of getting third attempt and clearing it is just, it's amazing.
And the gold medal in a record distance of 17.54 goes to Kaya Tapu South from Westlake.
So there we go, confirmation that Kaya Tupu South takes out the gold medal in the senior girls shot put and also picks up the championship record of 17.54. Fantastic effort from Kaya, and all those three girls were well over 16, I think. All of them were around there. Oh, opening up his attempt at 3:35 was...
See what happened there?
Yeah, one of our St Andrews competitors. I'll just grab his last name. He's one of the juniors.
So it kind of looks like he was holding the pole, like there looked like there's some issues where he was holding the pole, because when we saw it flex as well, it was actually going the wrong way. So It looks like that's why he kind of let go of it. It looks like there was a few issues there. And often when we see the pole do that, or from my perspective, I've been a spectator seeing when the pole bends the wrong way, that's when they end up on the floor. So that was a really smart thing for him to just drop it and run through. And that's the thing with a lot of our pole vaulters as well, is that they will know as soon as they plant whether or not they're in the right position, and that's why we'll often see them run through.
Oh, look at that, nicely clear. Was that our Westlake boys? Ty Rhodes.
We've just got a little lost property request too. One of our young officials is here helping has lost her phone. It's a
I see Jaden there again. We saw him yesterday in the...
Very technical, that.
Was it the 800?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Jaden was in the 800. I'm assuming this is the final for the 1500 wheelchair division. And man, I'd love to see some more athletes next year come out of the woodwork and join Jaden on the wheelchair. So if you're thinking about getting into this, check out Jaden's Instagram and his social media, and then it will definitely give you some inspiration to discover this cool sport of wheelchair racing.
Yeah, I definitely know that coming up over the next couple of days, there is a few new athletes of wheelchair racing coming up in the 200s and the sprints as well. So they're ones to look out for as well. It's definitely a bit of a growing sport, and I know that Jaden's got quite a good group that he's now training with. There's quite a few athletes going, so yeah,
Cool.
If there's some athletes out there, get out there and get training.
Yeah, absolutely. Spread the word. There's lots of organisations that can help get you started, get the right equipment, get connected with coaches. Usually your local parafed organisation will be able to get you connected. Here he comes, finishing off his 1500 metres, did the 800 metres yesterday, and a tick under 5 minutes, about 4:54 for Jaden.
Well done there to Jaden from Rangitoto College, taking out the 100 metres for junior boys.
And here we have the medal ceremony for the long jump. So this is where we can confirm the exact placings.
Right, the next medal presentation is the senior boys long jump. And presenting is Jordan Peters, three times national long jump champion. So third position there is Quinn Hartley from James Hargraves, 6 metres 77.
So 6 metres 77 for Quinn there for third place.
The silver medal, second position, Angus Sliver from Palmerston North, 6.80.
6.80, second place.
And Matthew Beeling is the winner, St Patrick's, 6.84 metres.
Yeah, so Matthew winning there at 6.84.
Yeah, 6.84. So it ended up being quite close, only 4 centimetres in it. Nice, exciting competition in the long jump by these boys. So congratulations to Matthew Beeling for taking that competition out. I'm sure we'll see more of these guys. A lot of them will double up in the triple jump and also the sprints.
The senior boys 100 metre heats, 7 heats.
7 heats. So here we are. We're at the senior men's 100 metres. So we've got 7 heats.
Pretty calm out there, so that's all good.
So a lot of these guys we'll be seeing would have doubled up in the 1 and 2. There was a couple who have done the 1, 2 and 4 as well. So it's going to be a big weekend for a lot of our athletes here today. So we're taking the top 3 of each heat plus the next best 11. So I believe there will be 4. Oh, do we have 4 rounds for the 100 metres?
Let's have a little look. We'll try and
figure out this. So we do know that there is a heat semis, heats, quarters, semis, finals for the 200.
Yeah, so it looks like heat 1 of 7. So there we go. We've got Harrison Leach in lane 2. Ahmed Shihata of Palmerston North, Jalal Woods of Dilworth, Jaden Baker of Matamata, Samuel De Rue of St Bede's, Henry Palmer of Hamilton Boys, Taylor Singer of Otaki College.
Following the Boys College, Ahmed Shihata, Palmerston North, Jalal Woods, Dilworth, and lane 4, Jaden Baker, Matamata College, in lane 5, Samuel De Rue,
yes, so I can confirm we do have quarterfinals this afternoon actually at 3:25. So there will be 4 rounds of the 100 metres today, so they've got 2 races today and 2 tomorrow.
Right. So again, just like the 200s, there's a lot of work to be done by these boys and girls this weekend in the sprints. You've got to be fit to get through the rounds, not just the race itself. That's for sure.
You've got to think about it. It's not just the one race, it's the warming up for every race. So it's the warm-ups, the warm-downs. It's quite the process. So it's not just 100 metres.
Yeah, and it's that logistics of how you stay warm and... So Jaden Baker of Matamata College taking out that heat. So a reminder that the top 3 of each go through, and then we pick up 11 best times. So a lot of motivation to, even if you're outside that top 3, to stay on pace, chase the guy in front. And was that Henry Palmer of Hamilton Boys, just closest to the camera there, coming through for second. May have been Taylor Singer.
And we see heat 2 of 7 of the senior men's 100 metres just lining up at the moment. They're just setting their blocks up.
All right, so we've got Alex Frost from Cambridge, Seth Palmer Rennie of Hutt International Boys, Edward Osane Nikitia from Scots, Joshua Price of St Thomas, Samuel Woolley of St Peter's, Jack Stalker of Central Southland College, Seri Ulukad. I'll try that again. Uluika Davu, I want to say, of Hamilton Boys. I've read his name a couple of times. I'm still struggling. So I'm going to go home and practice that one tonight. All right.
There will be no practice throws out on the practice field with any implements.
So like I said, we're looking for the top 3 in each heat plus the next best 11. So a lot of these guys we will see really trying to go hard in these heats as well, because you don't really want to be sitting there waiting to see if you're that next best 11. You do want those automatic qualifiers being the top 3. So the meet record for this is 10:60, set in 1997 by Benjamin Potter. Also,
Nice.
yeah, so quite a long, quite an old record there.
But they actually don't want to use them.
Yeah, and I know that the man in lane 4 will have his sights on that time, no doubt. Edward Osei Nikitia. Here we go. We've only got 5 in this heat. Eddie immediately stamps his mark on the race. Jack Stalker from Southland also looking strong. And just next to Eddie, Joshua Price running very well as well to pick up the third of the 3 auto qualifiers. Jack Stalker looking very stoked from Central Southland.
Yeah, great run from Josh there. He actually really came through in that last kind of 50 metres. He started really pushing and opened up a little bit, and once he started turning, it really got going. So it'll be really interesting for a lot of these guys as well. Great runs from them. Having someone like Eddie's really going to uplift their abilities and really pull through a lot of them to get PBs. And like we said, even if you're not here to win the medal, which is an attitude some people dislike, but at the end of the day, not everyone's going to win. It's always awesome to be able to go home and be like, cool, I got a PB. So we're back to the senior men's pole vault. Here the bar is at 3:45. It is a combination of senior men and junior men, I think.
Yeah, that looked like Josh Woodhead going clear.
Cool, and here we are lining up for, we're up to heat 3. No, heat 3 of 7 of the senior men's 100 metres. We can see them there just setting up their blocks, getting comfortable. They normally get 1 or 2 run-outs before. You're only meant to go to official stand and they're herding them back. It's quite hard for these sprinters as well, because to warm up on grass and then come onto the track and need to feel like you're fast, it doesn't really translate. Grass makes you feel awfully slow as a sprinter.
Yeah, so absolutely.
I can understand why some of them are trying to push their luck and do a longer stride out there.
Even running on the track makes me feel awfully slow. I think it's more about the user rather than the
user error.
Yeah. All right, so this will be heat number 3 of 7. We have John Wells of Christ College, Jordan Toy of Tauranga Boys, Jack Rogers of Christchurch Boys, Ethan Wallace of Matamata, Adam Kelly of Te Awamutu, Hayden Vickery of St Andrews, Oliver Krishnan of St Patrick's, and Sam Mitchell from St Peter's. So pretty stacked heat, this one.
Yeah, Oliver in lane 7 is fastest time of 11:02, so he'll be definitely looking to go that sub 11 this weekend.
Yeah, keep an eye on also Ethan Wallace in the middle of the track there, but the lining up looks like Oliver's going to take it, just easing up on the line. Looks like Oliver in 1, Ethan Wallace in 2, and John Wells of Christ College maybe just pipped that 3rd place.
It's a massive weekend for John Wells. He's in the 1, 2 and 4. It's a lot of rounds, a lot
Props
of running.
to that man. It's sort of like, which one do you try not to progress the rounds through?
Is it the 4 or is it the 2?
Yeah. Sorry, coach, I just couldn't get out of the blocks of that 400. Just couldn't get up to speed. Oh, well.
I just really felt that headwind on that top bend.
I hope he's going to do the 4x1 and the 4x4
I was going to say then
too.
also there'll be a 4x1 and 4x4 in there. And keeping in mind that there is 4 rounds for all these sprints for the 100 and 200. I think there's only 3 for only.
Yeah.
Only three for the 400.
All right, so we're moving on to heat number 4 of 7. So a reminder, top 3 go through, then it's 11 next best times. So there's a few of those next best times up for grabs, but like you say, you don't want to bank on that one, because with these sort of variable wind conditions, you might get a headwind and the next heat might get a raging tailwind. So
exactly, and it's one of those things as well, is that it's a kind of event where you don't really know what everyone's going to do. There's so many athletes, and a lot of these athletes aren't necessarily out doing the competitions every Saturday. They're cross disciplines, so they do other sports. So you don't necessarily know the ability of every other athlete, so you never really want to be sitting there in that 4th position.
All right, so Evan Morgan from Forest for You High School, possibly with definitely getting into the top 3 of best haircuts this weekend. 7 Mapu of Gisborne Boys, Manish Narayan of Kuranui College, Blake Parker of Westlake Boys, Rithik Kimani of Mount Roskill, Jamie Kearns of Wellington College, Harrison Bond of St Paul's, Tom Sellers of Christchurch Boys, getting out nicely in lane 2, 7 Mapu, and also Harrison Bond on the closest to the screen here. It looks like he might have just picked up second, but Mapu of Gisborne secures his place nicely.
He's got a seed time of 11.2, so kind of no surprise that he just took off there. He really just opened up and got comfortable. So it'll be interesting to see where that 4th position set, because in that 4th and 5th looked a little bit tight in that race. Of course, this will be heat 5 of 7 of the senior men's 100 metre heat. So they do have 4 rounds to go through. We're looking for the top 3 plus the next best 11.
Time of 11.59 from Gisborne Boys High. Harrison Bond from Paul Collegiate in Hamilton, 11.82. And Manish Narayan from Kuranui College in 12.11.
So while we wait for them to set their blocks up, we'll go through the start list. So this is heat 5 of 7. We have Sasha Sutherland in lane 2, Dylan Powell in lane 3, Charlie Brown lane 4, Brodie Robertson lane 5, Benji Ward lane 6, Harley Patel Maxlow. Is that correct?
I'll go with that.
Yep, Maxlow, yep. In lane 7, and Matthew Rogers in lane 8.
So
Maxlow, just heard that over the loudspeaker. Yeah, so lane 8's our fastest seed, 11.04. He's 5th seed on the ranks altogether, so watch lane 8. Matthew Rogers, definitely probably looking to just cruise through if he can. It's a bit of a, get the blood pumping, getting a really good start before heading into the quarters, which are later this afternoon.
All right, so heat 5, we are missing one athlete there. Is that Charlie Brown from Mount Hutt College? Is missing from this heat, so reminder 3 go through, and it looks like Harley Patel Maxlow is off to a good start with Matthew Roger just on his shoulder. Matthew Roger pulls away for the win. It's Harley Patel Maxlow picks up 2nd place, and I believe it's Dylan Powell of Edgecombe came through for that auto 3rd. Pretty close on the line, shows how you can't afford to slow up right on that line. Got a dip for the line. Possibly Brodie Robinson came through for it. Yeah, I'm going to give it to Brodie. But good chance of picking up one of those 11 next best times. And we've still got 2 more of these senior boys 100s. Then we're jumping into the senior girls 100s. We've got 5 prelims to get through in the senior girls 100s, and we also have a senior boys pole vault competition which was delayed from yesterday after an equipment malfunction, which sounds dangerous when it's to do with pole vault. So we've got that sorted. The safety officers have given it the all clear, and we are ahead and jumping. So the bar is at 365. And I can tell you who's still in the competition. We still have every senior aside from Vincent Chen, who after those fantastic clearances at 315 then 325 couldn't quite get the 335, but we are up to 365 now with Josh Woodhead.
Senior boys 100 metres.
So it's heat 6. We have heat 6 of 7 for the senior men's 100 metres. Looking at the top 3 and the next best 11. So we saw a little bit of a tight race in that last one, so it is important for these guys to get out there and actually race, not pull up too quickly.
Right, so Will Chun off to a good start there on the inside in lane 2. He's going to pull away for the win in this, and interesting to see who pulls through for the top 3. Looked like Tex Beattie and Max Brebner booked their spot in the next round, or guaranteed their spot in the next round. But Will Chun looks smooth out of the blocks. He's certainly one of the boys to watch this weekend.
And we're back to the senior men's pole vault. Nice, easy clearance there.
Yeah, Joshua Bull going clear, so he had a clearance at 3:55. Oh no, so this is that's his opening jump. Opening vault, I should say.
Well, this is our final heat of the senior boys 100 metres, and we're just back at the pole for senior men's pole vault now.
Ruben Vogel opens up his campaign with a clearance at 3:65.
Very smooth, very comfortable. So we're looking to the business end kind of the pole vault there as well, with a lot of seniors coming in at their starting heights. I think a lot of them will be looking around that 450 kind of mark, I believe, is where we're looking at. So we might see a few of them come in at these lower heights and then skip a couple. As well, just to make sure that they keep warm, keeping in mind that they had to be in the core room 90 minutes before the event. So it's already been a long day for a lot of these pole vaulters.
Yeah, Joshua Bull there, who we had on screen, he's got a personal best of 420. And then really it is, a whole bunch of juniors sort of around, well, juniors, I mean, under 20s around that 4 metre mark. So definitely be safe to say if you want to be in the medals or looking at gold, you've got to be clearing over 4 metres. All right, let's run through the start list of, this is the final of the 100 metre prelims, and we have Isaac Unsworth Coyle of Hamilton Boys, Chris Pace of Catholic, Dominic McNicholas of Wellington College, Sam Cartwright of Christchurch Boys, Jacob Stockwell of New Plymouth Boys, Eli Leafy of Christchurch Boys, and Bryn Stevens. So Eli coming back from his good performance over on the long jump.
It's a quick turnaround.
Yeah, like you say, it brings into that working with your coach, working with your team, understanding how your body works, what sort of warm down you do after an event, what sort of warm up you should do before the next one when there's only 45 minutes.
Exactly. It goes to show how athletic these athletes really are. To be able to turn around, come from a final in a long jump straight into a 100 metre sprint, and to be able to turn it on and off like that's pretty amazing.
So Jacob Stockwell in lane 6, he's your under 17 New Zealand record holder, and straight away he gets those legs moving very quickly, opening up a commanding lead. But Eli Leafy looks like he's in second place. Maybe Isaac Unsworth Coyle picked up the auto third. We'll need to double check that. But Jacob Stockwell gets his weekend started in good fashion.
Yeah, Jacob Stockwell does have a seat time of 11:09. So once again, we'll definitely be looking for a hill or speed. One of those athletes looking for a sub 11 in a final. Running with someone like Eddie might be a really great opportunity for him as well to actually be dragged under that sub 11.
Yeah, I mean, Jacob is a really interesting one because he's got a personal best here of 10.73.
Oh, wow.
So he could actually go, which is, I believe, the New Zealand under 17 record.
Yeah.
So it'll be a really interesting battle with him and Eddie, both thinking that they could get the championship record this weekend.
Exactly. And I think these are the kind of events as well, is that you do see people like Jacob really step up step up to the competition. And by the time we get to finals come Sunday, all their mates will be around here, the crowds will be big, they'll be amped to go. So it will be a really great competition, that senior men's final.
And remember, Eddie, of course, is doubling in the 200 this year, so that adds that extra complication of what does the fatigue do to...
Yeah, so it'll be about 8 races. He would have done 8 races by the time he gets to the 100-metre final as well. So yeah, like you said, there's a totally different element, how he's going to handle the fatigue. There's things like keeping in mind that no matter what happens in the 200, you're always going to get that headwind, like we talked about this morning, across the top bend as well. So yeah, I think it'll pan out to be a pretty interesting competition. I'm hoping we do see someone dip under that record. It'd be really great to see that go. It's been there since 1997. So here, back at the senior men's pole vault.
Between your events, or if you're walking by over there,
kind of getting to the business end of things now. The bar is at, what do we reckon,
375?
365?
Yes, 365, you're right.
At 365.
Yeah, so this is one of our juniors set to go.
This is one of our juniors. So this is one of our juniors kind of pushing up towards into the senior race, because we did say most of the seniors are looking towards that 4 metre mark, maybe just tipping over the 4 metre mark.
So Ty Rhodes, he had the height.
Definitely had the height.
But it is that perfect combination of having the height but also enough speed to project you over the bar. And we're switching our focus to the senior girls 100 metres. Now this is going to be an extremely exciting competition, because we've talked this weekend already about how so many of the field events are so hot right now, but female sprinting, especially in the high school ranks, is super hot right now.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we're seeing heaps of young sprinters coming through, even some of them that aren't actually competing here today because they're focusing on other events, but we're seeing quite a lot of those girls dip under that 12-second mark. So it's going to be really, really exciting, really interesting. There is a really, really strong record of 11:59 by Lucy Sheep, which was done in 2017. So I'm not sure if we're going to get to that 11:59 because there's extremely... I think that might be. Yeah, I was going to say that's probably, I think, maybe 3 or 4 on the all-time list as well. So that's really moving. But there's definitely potential for us, hopefully, most of our athletes in our final to drop under sub-12. So there's 5 heats in the senior women. So we're taking top 3 plus next best 9.
All right, so in Heat 1, we have Charlotte Drabble from Mount Maunganui, local girl, Beeb Newman from Wellington Girls, Olivia Kane from St. Peter's, Samantha Cork of Takapuna Grammar, Ella Kay of St. Mary's, Hana-rae Knowles of Cambridge High School, and Gracie Pratton of Cashmere High School.
So I see Samantha there in lane 5. She's doing the triple, the 1, the 2, and the 400 as well. It's a big weekend for her.
Love it.
Hanima was in the hurdles a little bit earlier on this morning as well. I think she's the secondary school's record holder for the 100-metre hurdles from last year, if I remember right.
Yeah. Did she win the double, the 100 flat 100 hurdles? Anyway, here they go. And immediately Hana-rae just pulls ahead, getting those big long strides going, and it looks like Hana-rae will take the lead, and let's see who also books a spot in the next round automatically. It was Samantha Cork and Gracie Pratton. So they're your top 3. Hana-rae just so fast out of the blocks.
Yeah, definitely. She got out there and just kind of met business.
I love that, just super strong arm drive, like just telling her legs, look, wake up, let's get going.
Yeah, exactly. And it's quite hard for an athlete to turn around from a hurdles race to get back into a sprint mode as well. Because thinking about hurdling as well, hurdling's a rhythm thing. So to be able to turn off that 1, 2, 3 rhythm, 1, 2, 3 into an actual sprint where you just constantly drive is quite a hard thing for an athlete.
Yeah, so last year she did get that infamous double of the 100 hurdles and 100 flat. That's just phenomenal. And so she'll be back again. See if she can double.
Yeah.
No pressure.
It must be her last year at school as well. So.
Must be.
should definitely be looking for for some good results for that last year.
So heat number 2, we have Lucy McDonald from Craighead Dio, Sarah Hewlett of Te Awamutsu, Charlotte Baker of Whanganui High School, Abby Glover Esplin from St Peter's, Selena Gee of Linfield, Harriet Whitfield of Wellington, Tapanisa Javier from St Andrews, and Charlotte Lambie of Burnside. So Tapanisa having a busy old weekend in the throws and the sprints. Good to see.
Well, we did talk about
all-round athlete.
We did talk about this when the shotput was on. That actually a lot of our sprinters are extremely powerful and really, really quick over that over the shorter distance as well. So where some people might be really surprised when you see sprinters doubling in, throwers and sprinters kind of mixing it up. It's not that. I don't want to say it's common, but it's not that uncommon though either. Either or she could be a heptathlete making.
Yeah, I mean they're both essentially power-based sports, aren't they? I mean,
yeah, they're both power-based sports. So, and I think that's the thing is that when you're at school, that's one of the most things that I think you take for granted is that you have the ability to just go and do a little bit of everything, and you can actually be really good and really competitive across really random things. Which now for me, I could never turn up to a shot put and be competitive.
Yeah.
I can never be competitive.
You get specialised as you move up into the senior world.
So many of our school athletes are just multi-talented.
Yeah.
So I think we will see a few cross disciplines going on.
And it keeps it fun. Like, how cool is it to be over there meddling in the shot put and then jump into a sprint race?
Well, one of my favourite doubles I've ever seen, I think it was Jaden Williams, the high jumper, and he used to be a hammer thrower as well. I'm not sure if he's still a 2 metre high jumper who's also a hammer thrower.
I actually interviewed an American marathon recently, one of the top American female marathon runners. She also very proud of her own shot put PB of 5 metres. All right, so here we go. So Tapanisa Javi is off to a good start, and it's going to be very close with this top 3, but it looks like out on lane 2, Sarah Hewlett, and was that Selena Gee coming through with that bright pink hair? So Selena Gee, Tapanisa Javier, and Sarah Hewlett will be your auto qualifiers. So
we're looking for the top 3 and the next best 9.
Tapanisa looking very fresh even after those 6 rounds of the shot put.
We're back to the senior men's pole vault. Bars at 385. Oh, a nice clearance there from 13.1.
Selena G from Linfield College in 3rd place. Time of 13.26.
Yeah, that was Joshua Bull going clear, so he skipped at 375.
Oh, and he's
clear at 385.
And we also just talking about the pole vault, we also have Josh Woodhead who's cleared at 385. So we have 2 athletes that have cleared at 385 over at the pole vault. And
the very confusing thing about this is we've also got Josh Teal who is approaching, no, that was that Charlie Cameron opening up his campaign? But we've got 3 Joshes in this competition, which makes it slightly confusing.
Lane 5 not with us.
All right, do you want to run us through the start list of heat number 3?
Okay, let me find heat number 3. So heat number 3, in lane 2 we have Emma Alston from St Andrews College. Lane 3 we have Elizabeth McLean from St Peter's School. Lane 4 we have Morgan Riley from Tauranga Girls College. Lane 5 we have Jessica Vogel. Lane 6 we have Catherine Winter, Marguerite Johnson in lane 7, and Sarah Farmer in lane 8.
Speaking of Sarah Farmer, away she goes, pulling away from this field, and just next to her Marguerite Johansson, picking up the second place, and Elizabeth McLean in lane 3 from St. Peter's will also round out your auto qualifiers.
Yeah, but great technique by Sarah there in a lane, Sarah Farmer in lane 8. She just looks so comfortable, just easily turning over.
A backwards roll. We saw the forwards roll in action in the long jump. Good to see.
So you can see him there just indicating to his coach that he knew he went straight up and he didn't actually he got the height, but he didn't get the distance. So it'll be a matter of talking to the coach about what are we going to change here. Do we need to change the pole? Do I actually need to push into the box a little bit more to get a little bit more bend in my pole and stuff as well?
So as an overview of where we're at with that senior boys pole vault competition, Vincent Chen bowed out with a best clearance of 325. Now the bar's up to 385, and we've got Josh Teal sitting on 2 missed jumps. Josh Woodhead is clear, Joshua Bull is clear, Charlie Cameron and Ruben Vogel both have a miss at 385.
So this is the second attempt for... Just wait till we see that number.
Is that Josh Teal? So that's his third attempt, so missing it. So bowing out of the competition, so he will leave with a best mark of 375. And the start list for the 5th and final heat in the senior girls 100 metres is Hayley Bond of Waimea College, Ellen Carter of Selwyn, Lily Cockram of St. Margaret, Celia Ward of Dunstan, Emily Gilchrist of Waikato, Dio Lusungu Mbambo from Ashburton, Brianna Irving of Gisborne, girls Zoe Keenan of Sacred Heart, and they are away cleanly. We've had nice clean starts in the 100 metres this morning, and it is nice and even, if anything. Lily Cockram, is it just pulling away?
Out in the front, that was Taylor.
Oh, sorry, am I reading the wrong?
Yeah, I think you did.
I totally read the wrong one. So that was the 4th of 5 heats. Sorry, girls.
That was Taylor Brunga coming through there. So we did see her yesterday featuring in the 400. So she's obviously doing the 100 and 400 double there.
Classic Hayden era. So we had, that was heat 4 of 5. So I'll give these girls props for getting started. So we had Shay Daly, Angela Zykert, Taylor Brunger, Ashley Farrell, Chloe Bell, Jorian Furry, and Sophia Wenceslau.
We're back over the senior men's pole vault. So we're kind of at the business ends of things. The bar's at 3 metres 85. We just had Charlie Cameron, he's cleared, and we have Ruben Vogel, he's had 1 miss.
4.71 to Taylor Brunner.
Goes nice. Goes clear. Very controlled jump. Looked like he had a bit of pain in the back or something.
It doesn't look super stoked there, but that's the thing with a lot of these jumpers as well. They spend so much time with the poles and stuff like that. They know when something's not quite right, and even if they do make it, there's always things to be changing. So I'm sure he'll be over there talking to his coach, trying to figure out what he needs to do in order to, get that next height and try and get on the first clearance.
All right, so this time these girls get read out twice. So I've had a practice, so I should be able to nail the start list. So Hayley Bond from Waimea, Ellen Carter of Selwyn, Lily Cockram of St. Margaret, Celia Ward of Dunstan, Emily Gilchrist of Waikato, Lusungu Mbambo of Ashburton, Brianna Irving of Gisborne, and Zoe Keenan of Sacred Heart. This is the 5th and final. Top 3 go through, and then we're after the next 9 fastest. And a good clean start. Here we go on the outside, looking like a good start is Brianna Irving, just pulling away from this field, but inside of her, also running very well, is Celia Ward.
That 4th place is going to be really hard to pick there. It was quite even across the line there. So we had
very even.
We had the 2 girls pull out at the front, but we have to wait for a replay to see who's going to take away those next positions there.
Yeah, so Celia Ward and Brianna Irving are well clear. It looked like lane 2. Ellen Carter of Selwyn College.
Get the girls high, 12.89, broken 13 seconds here by both first set and second.
So that rounds out our 100 metre heats. Next up on the track will be the junior boys 100 metres, but we will shed the spotlight on this exciting competition on the senior boys pole vault.
Yeah, so we have the senior boys pole vault. The bar is at 395. So still in the competition, we have Josh Woodhead, Joshua Bull, Charlie Cameron, and Ruben Vogel. So far we've had Josh Woodhead. He's had clean. He's a really clear run. He started at 3:45. Looks like he used that as a warm-up. Had one miss, but now he's had clean run straight through.
Here we go. Oh,
Nice.
very good. Good awareness of the bar to get over that. Looked like he just had the height.
Yeah, it looks like Josh Woodhead has had really good round. We've seen him. He's been consistently clearing first attempt on every go.
Look at that, just slides
Just
over.
nice.
I do wonder about, usually it's the guys who have baggy shorts, baggy t-shirts,
Yeah.
and just tucking in. I don't, just an idea. I'm no pole vault coach. My PB is 2 meters, so we'll just keep that in mind.
I used to have a coach who used to make me put my hair in a bun when I used to high jump.
Yeah.
Because he was adamant that it was my hair that was going to knock the bar off.
It wasn't your heels that knocked it off.
No,
it was,
your hair.
it was that ponytail.
Ooh, so there's Joshua Bill there. Just at him. So the bar comes straight down on his face.
Just to rub it in, eh?
Yeah. Exactly. So we are at 3.95 meters. So this is definitely the business end of the pole vault competition for these senior men after kind of mentally preparing to pole vault yesterday afternoon, turning up and realizing that there was equipment malfunction, and then not actually knowing when their competition was going to be postponed to. It's been a bit of a wild ride for a lot of these young athletes. One of those things that you're just going to learn to deal with. I wouldn't expect it to happen in like a world championship kind of situation, but you never know. So these athletes have done really well to be able to adjust and adapt to what was kind of put in front of them, because it's never that easy to be mentally prepared for something and then someone all of a sudden go, oh, actually, it'll be maybe tomorrow, we don't know yet. But so
instead of today afternoon, how about tomorrow morning? Let's wake up early.
Yeah, so we have Charlie Cameron here going for his first attempt at 3.95.
Oh,
nice,
Look at that.
clear, nice clearance, super easy. He looks stoked. A little high five from his mate. On to the next one. Great takeoff there. Swing right under, pushing off. Nice. So one of the real interesting things that I find about this pole vault as well is that especially as the bar gets higher as well, is that we actually see them swing fully upside down, right? So it's like almost a patience game. While the pole's bending, they've actually got to get their body upside down. And just the idea of, I don't know, how about you turn your body upside down before you go over something is, a little bit unnatural in my opinion, but...
Absolutely. Inverting yourself 4 meters into the air. Sounds fun.
Perfect. We have Ruben Vogel here. This is his first attempt at
3.95. So
nice,
he's clear. So, and this is important when you come to the business end. Those first time clearances become extra important in case we get into a countback situation.
Yeah. So Ruben currently sitting in third. Yeah, currently sitting in third place on the countback. With Charlie Cameron in second, and Josh Woodhead has had a clean run. So we'll go into a second attempt here for Josh Bill. So it's quite interesting there for Ruben, because we saw him kind of just struggle a little bit in that height before at 3.85, and it's 10 centimetres higher. But it just goes to show, it's just talking to that coach and making those small adjustments. I mean, he made that 3.95 look really easily. So it goes to show that in a competition, especially like pole vault, when you see them skim the bar and you're like, oh no, they're reaching their limitations. Clearly they're not. They just need to change poles, they need to change technique, and it makes a really big difference for them.
different pronunciation.
And you see there's a bit of crosswind, see the bits of the pole,
Very close there, 11.9.
the well-worn pole blowing a bit sideways there. So crosswinds are definitely not a pole vaulter's best friend. But it doesn't look, it's easy for us to say that while we sit up here, but it doesn't look like it's too big of a crosswind over there today.
Yeah, I've got to say, like, the forecast was for today to be the windiest day, and I don't know if it's the cloud cover or something, but the trees are barely blowing about like they were yesterday. The flags are just kind of just hanging out, doing their thing. So it's pretty good conditions for athletics, really. As long as you can stay a little bit warm. It's definitely not cold out there, but just stay warm between your jumps.
Exactly. We have Josh Bull lining up for his second attempt at 395.
So he was clear at 365, skipped 375, went straight over at 385. Let's see how he goes at 395.
Oh, nice.
Clips the bar, wobbles around, but it stays on.
Stays on.
Gets the white flag. Good news.
So this is looking like it's a really interesting competition here. We have 4 senior men left and the bar's moved up to 4 metres. So we still have John Woodhead, Josh Bull, Charlie Cameron and Ruben
Vogel.
Oh, the bar's actually going up to 405. Sorry, not 4 metres, going up to 405.
Yeah, this is going to be absolutely exciting competition. And where we're heading for the rest of this session before we break for lunch, we have the 3,000 metres finals on the track. So the senior girls is scheduled to go at 12:15, but that may move forward a little bit in the schedule, just with some of the 100-metre prelims being not needed today for the juniors. And then we have the senior boys 3,000 metre. And then we've also got the prelims for the 300-metre hurdles, senior girls, senior boys. So that's on the track. The focus will be on the pole vault for the time being.
And pretty exciting stuff looking forward to the afternoon as well. We're getting Camille in here this afternoon. She can have a bit of a chat around the 3,000 metres. So
yeah,
she's qualified for what was meant to be an Olympic year. She qualified in both the 3 and the 5.
So in the 5 and the 10.
Oh,
so 5,000, 10,000.
So 5 and 10 as well. So
I believe she's got to qualify for the 5,000. She's definitely for the 10.
Yeah, because I was at the World Champs when she qualified for that. So it'll be super interesting to get her in here as well and have a chat about what she did, what she remembers from when she was at school as well. So.
And a fellow 400 hurdler with Cameron French coming in.
Yeah, so it'll be exciting to have a good chat to Cameron French. Haven't seen him in a while. We've been living in different countries. So he's been over in the UK and I'd been in Australia. So it's been a while since we've crossed paths. We'd have a great catch up.
So lots to look forward to in this session, and then this afternoon heaps of action still to come. So thanks heaps for joining the coverage here on Sky Sport Next on the YouTube channel. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, share the link with your friends and family, because this pole vault competition is going to be hugely exciting. We've got 4 boys left in. Josh Woodhead knocks the bar off at 405.
So Josh Woodhead, that was the first time that he has missed since his opening height at 345. So he's had a really clean sweep now but now he's just had his first miss. So it'll be interesting to see what he does. Goes back, chats to his coach. What adjustments is he actually going to make? Has he reached the limitations of that pole? Does he need to move up poles? Does he need to change his technique a little bit? It'll be interesting to see what he does, to see if he can get that clearance, because it looks like this competition is really going to come back to a count back. So how a count back works is basically you go back and you see who cleared each height first.
Yeah.
Is that the best way to explain it? I don't even know how you explain it now. I know what it looks like on paper.
So I guess you want as little X's on the board as possible. There's a few little nuances where you've got, one X on one height and someone's got an X on the other height. So I'd need to look up the rule book to find exactly how you distinguish the two. But you want as few X's as possible. A nice clean sheet.
We have Josh Bull here, running straight through. So not even taking off there. Looks like he has some kind of issues going on there. He looks not that happy with his run-up, whether it was a bit of wind going on or the run-up, or has he changed poles. That can always be something too. So a lot of the time, that what I've noticed from a spectator's perspective as well is that what we see is that when the bolters change pole, so whether they go for I want to say they go stiffer pole. Someone's gonna be very unhappy with what I'm saying here. But
I'll back you up on this.
Yeah. You know, if we go on confident, no one will know that we're wrong. But as they change poles as well, sometimes what I often see is that when they actually landed in the box as well, that they're not in a position they can take off. And sometimes their pole might be slightly longer as well, so they've got to change the run-up. So sometimes they'll change poles and it'll take them it'll take them 1 or 2 attempts to actually take off. And they seem to be kind of a somewhat normal thing in pole vault, is changing poles and using 1-year attempts as just a tester to see where you're at.
I've got to say, when I've attended elite competitions overseas, diamond leagues and things like that, I'm always amazed at how much they miss on the pole vaults, even the top guys. I remember watching Le Villeneuve when he was sort of top of his game, the French pole vaulter, and just the number of times these top guys in the world would miss. And even in the earlier heights as well. So just
definitely.
working out the gear, working out the conditions.
So that was Charlie, Cameron missing. So all 3 of our athletes so far have missed there. No one has cleared it. So interesting enough, I went to a training camp with them because I was with the French team.
Oh, nice.
In South Africa 1 year. And the training that they do is just... The training that a pole vaulter does would actually surprise you. There's a lot of... Obviously, the gymnastic stuff you're kind of used to, but there was a lot of running.
Yeah.
A lot of running. Sprinting, yep, and trying to... Because that's the thing with the pole vaulter as well, is that we always, as sprinters, we like to make fun of pole vaulters, because when you see them running down the track, even if they're sprinting, they always look like they're holding a pole. But one of the big things as well is that they actually do have to have some speed, right?
You've got to run fast with holding a pole.
Yeah, so they actually do need to do those 50-metre, 100-metre sprints, even if they do sometimes look a bit awkward.
I love it. Now, Ruben Vogel, he went clear at 365, and then 375 was clear. Missed one at 385, but was perfect at 395. So now we're at 405. This is his first jump. Here he goes.
So it just looks like he hit it on the way up there, just with his feet. So he'll go back, talk to his coach, see... what does he need to change? Does he need to put a bit more speed in that run-up? I like to watch the athlete to see what kind of cues they're getting from their coach. So you see them kick their legs out. Are they saying, oh yeah, I know, I did that, I opened up too soon. So most of the time when you're watching athletes, even if you're a spectator as well, if you just look at the athlete, you'll see them actually tell the coach what they've done wrong, which is always really interesting and gives you really good feedback to understand what's happening in the event as well. So I know when I used to do... for example, when I used to do high jump, when I did heptathlon, you'd see me kind of sometimes standing just on an angle trying to tell my coach that I need to hold the bend better and stuff. And we see the same things with these athletes as well. In the pole vault, you'll see sometimes they'll be kicking their legs out, or you can see them like pulling their elbows and doing just different actions, which kind of gives you an indication of what they've done wrong. And they're so attuned to their body as well that the easiest way for us to figure out what they're doing wrong is have a look at the athlete indicating.
I mean, there's so many component parts in the pole vault, from the sprint to planting the actual pole in the box.
Exactly. So we have Josh Woodhead here from Hastings Boys, his second attempt at 4:05. So Mara's at 4:05. We have no one has cleared yet out of the senior boys.
Yes, that's his second miss. Had a miss first up at 3:45, but since then he's been clear, skipped at 3:55 and then 3:75.
So I'm just having a look at the record for the pole vault. The pole vault record is held by Pascal Keepers from Rangitoto College from 2003. The record is 5 meters 10. Yeah.
Wow.
So Big record there.
That's surprising. That's the championship record.
Yes. I actually know Pascal as well.
Yeah.
He doesn't pole vault anymore. It's a shame because, like, when you look back at this, I'll have to let him know that he still holds the national school record. He is a doctor though, so off doing important things. But it's always really interesting when you kind of look back at some of these records. Some of the names are always, you know, very well known. I'm just looking at the list now. We see Jacko Gill there.
Yeah.
Very well known names. But sometimes these people you pop up and you're like, oh, I wonder if they even realise they still hold the national secondary school record.
Yeah, it's interesting looking at this list. Like you say, Connor Bell last year threw that just fantastic discus in atrocious weather. 67 metres, 27. Incredible. And yeah, it is the who's who. We've just got the male list in front of us. Gavin Lovegrove, Jacko Gill.
Wind there, very slight, not much wind actually, but Whanganui High School there, Vincent
Brad Mathis, Richard Potts, Matthew Baxter.
Second, Michael.
Some
Great
legends.
All right, Joshua Bull from Catholic Cathedral.
Going clear there, giving him he was a little bit relieved. So
If you didn't see the bar was still on there, you would have thought he missed it by the expression, but I think it was just a...
Oh, lovely takeoff there. Ooh, nice. So we had a really nice bend. Oh, you can see the guys in the background just going, oh my gosh. You can see they had a really nice takeoff and a really nice bend there, but there's something that's, I'm not sure what it is technically that's happening there, but you can see that he's just skimming the bar. So we have to go back and talk to his coach about, okay, now I'm getting the height, but I'm actually too close to the bar. So do I need to be taking off further away? Do I need to move the uprights back? There's a few different alternatives that you can look at there. I'm sure you can look at the bend in the pole and stuff like that as well. But that's one of the big things to look for now going forward. Because if you're just skimming 405, you need to think about, okay, what do I need to change so when we get to that, I think we'll go to 415. That you're not using a lot of energy to be skimming the bar. So that leaves Josh Bull as our only athlete so far to clear 405 in the senior men's pole vault. We have Charlie Cameron now on a second attempt.
Yeah, so this is Charlie Cameron from Christ College. So he missed his first attempt at 385, then went clear, and went clear first time at 395. Missing his first at 405. The onus now is on him to go clear here at 405. So Joshua Bull has laid it down for these other guys to follow. This is where it becomes so important to keep that clean sheet.
It's always a hard job being the official, having to get up and down, putting the bar up. And the higher it gets, the harder it gets, especially on windy days. All right, Charlie Cameron from Christ College lining up here. Currently sitting in third.
He had the height, but like you say, that distance over the bar, got great height.
Yeah, he did.
Probably just sacrificed some of that height for a bit of speed.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what he wants to do next. I was just wondering if it was almost like a little bit, I don't want to say passive. Passive is probably not the right word to use in pole vault, but I'm thinking about, you think about the cross skills from other events, and I think about just one thing that comes through a lot of the time as well when you just need that little bit extra in a field event is that get all your technical ducks in a row, and it's just that little bit of, I always think about you push a spring down and then it pops. It's like that kind of just that last little bit of something it needs. I'm not sure what that something is in pole vault.
That's what a coach is for. And it's one of the things I love about these field events. You've got your coaches right there. You can go and have a yarn to them. Maybe some teammates will give you some pointers.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the cool things is that if you do watch pole vault internationally, is like when I'm talking about get your technical ducks in a row and trying to get that, not be passive, but there is something about when a pole vaulter releases at the last minute that's actually quite aggressive. I mean, if you watch some of the international guys, and as they're screaming, as they're falling, when they're celebrating, but when they just take off and they push their poles back, it is quite there's a lot more aggression in it than I guess you would initially think. Cool. So we have Ruben Vogel here. He's at 4:05. So second attempt. He missed his first attempt, but he made his first attempt on 3:95. Cleared first go. So it was really good clearance of road, good height. So hopefully just a few changes, he'll be able to get this one here. Nice running.
Oh,
nice.
Yes. It sticks.
And he's stoked. Got the white flag.
And as you can see there, just a big old gust of wind comes in straight after he cleared that. You can see there the leaves aren't moving at all.
Great takeoff there, really pushing through. Shoulders over. Nice.
Wow, good work.
Nice.
So he actually timed that to perfection. Like a lot of these jumpers will wait for those gusts of wind to die down, and he just timed that one to perfection, where he made the jump and then a massive old gust of wind came through. The bar stayed on. He moves through to the next height.
Yeah, so currently sitting in second place as well. So I can see him talking to Jeremy McCall there. So Jeremy's obviously a great, very well-known pole vault coach as well, doing some great things.
So here we go, back to Josh Woodhead of Hastings Boys.
This is his final attempt at 4:05. So see him calming the nerves, taking the big breath. No, so it's all good. So one of the rules as well with pole vault is that even if you step on the mat, you can go on the mat, but you can't go past the upright. So none of your equipment or persons can pass that upright.
So good work slamming on the brakes there.
Yeah.
Give himself another shot at it.
So you can see the wind picked up quite a bit actually. You can see the trees blowing in the background as well. So he'll need to take that into consideration here.
Oh, looked good. The approach was good, but just didn't swing through to get the legs up. And that will be his final one. So bows out after a really good series where he missed at 3:45.
Yeah.
Then he went clear at 3:65 and 3:85, but 3 misses at 4:05. Unfortunately, will leave him just outside the medals. We assume.
Yes.
The other thing is Charlie Cameron is yet to clear. So here's Charlie Cameron. He's got a miss at 3:85, which would put him just behind Josh Woodhead. Is that right? So both were clear at 3:95, but Charlie Cameron missed his first attempt at 3:85, whereas Josh Woodhead went clear first time. So I definitely stand to be corrected, but my bet is that this is for a medal, this jump. This vault, I should say. Here he goes. Charlie Cameron, Christ College.
Oh, we got cut out.
We lost our visuals, and we can't actually see if the bar's still on. So was he clear? Okay, let's check the replay. Over he goes, Charlie Cameron from Christ College. He's clear.
Nice, great clearance.
Double fist bump, and so he should, because that's just secured him a medal. Josh Woodhead, obviously looking at that in despair.
That was not a great time for a visual cutout. Yeah. Awesome. So that gives us our top 3. So we have Joshua Bull from, what school is that? Catholic College?
Catholic Cathedral College.
Yeah. We have Charlie Cameron from Christ College and Ruben Vogel from Takapuna Karama. So the bar will be moving up to 4 meters 50. So this is our senior men's pole vault final. It's looking to be quite an interesting competition panning out. We're starting to see the athletes make a few technical changes, and we actually have seen the wind pick up quite a bit down that back straight. So it's going to be interesting to see how these athletes actually adjust to that wind. One of the things I noticed before, Hayden, was that I could see the officials actually holding the upright on with the measure. You can see there. Those are the
holder honours.
The holder honours, yeah. So it's actually...
So it's the official name, if you're wondering.
The official trademark and branded. So the holder honours are... so the officials actually are trying to hold the upright on, and they'll let go just before the athlete goes over. So that goes to show how windy it is actually back there. So here we have
Joshua Bull from Catholic Cathedral College.
see his concentration going, got his concentration face on. You can see the crowd's actually really starting to pick up over there as well. So it's always a little bit intimidating when you're an athlete and the crowd is that close to you.
So from my calculations, I put him in second place. So I
Yep.
stand to be corrected on that one. Here he goes. Oh, it was a close attempt, 4:15, probably just missing a couple of centimetres.
Yeah, so he looked like he just rushed. He kind of rushed the process there a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Like he looked like he went up and then he was just trying to turn and get over that bar. And that's the thing that happens quite a lot with athletes is as the pressure goes on, they almost rush things. It's like if you did exactly what you did in the last in the last jump, which is something that I often got told as an athlete when I was doing heptathlon. You know, the bar and high jump would go up and the coach would say, and I'd say, what do I do? And he said, nothing, exactly what you did on the one before. And I think that's kind of
That
the game.
helps.
Yeah, exactly, just go a little bit higher.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the challenge that a lot of these athletes have now as well, is that, you know, trying to not let the nerves and the understanding that cool, anyone's in for a medal now we're down to the business end of the top three, really change what they would normally do.
Lane 6 here, Charlotte Goldsmith and Cuthbert College first. Lane 4,
So Ruben Vogel's got a personal best of, this is really interesting, Ruben Vogel's got a personal best of 4 flat.
Yeah.
Both Charlie Cameron and Joshua Bull have personal bests at 4:20. So really is a question of who can personal best today. So Charlie Cameron, they're missing out.
Oh yeah, so Ruben Vogel's already bettered his personal best by 5 centimetres. He'll be coming up for his first attempt at 4:15. So we're really kind of reaching the. So this will be for another PB for Ruben at 4:15.
Sophie Hancock 13.10 and Fiona Shuffle 13.15.
Can we see the officials putting the bar back up there on the upright? So athletes, I think, have about a minute between jumps now. So once your name's called, you've got a minute. Some of the athletes like to just stand out, hang around. I do notice that in bigger competitions, a lot of the girls, even at the regional competitions, a lot of the girls put the blankets on, and they sit down and they relax and wait that full time. These guys seem to be eager to just get out there and keep going.
Well, they're probably aware as well. The forecast was for wind picking up as well, so probably the quicker you get it over and done with, the better.
Yeah, exactly.
In the middle of the red colours there.
You see the official struggling there. I just want to point out what hard manual labour it is to be an official.
Yeah. And this is on a nice summer's day, pleasant conditions.
And I want to remind everyone at
out there in
home.
all sorts of weather.
And I do want to remind everyone at home that the effort it is to put that bar on has to happen every single jump, all day for 3 days.
Yeah, and someone comes and just knocks it off.
Here we go, Ruben Vogel.
Oh, not this time. Safely ejects.
Captain James Cook got it
Not
right.
happy there. Not
So
happy.
everyone has a miss on this first attempt at 4:15. So Ruben Vogel would be pushing it out to well beyond his personal best, which was coming into this competition at 4 meters 0. That's moved up to 4.05.
Yeah, so he's already done amazing to come here. You know, more than anything, he's come here. He's in a medal contention and he's got a personal best. So everything from here on in is really a bonus for him, right?
And the other two in the competition, Joshua Bull and Charlie Cameron, have personal bests at 4:20. So they'll be hoping that they can get up there, get past this 4:15 and hopefully extend on their best. But this competition is right into the juicy part of it. Stay tuned, everyone, because these next few jumps are going to be very exciting. As we see Charlie Cameron just compose himself, visualize what he needs to do, go through all those steps that he's practiced so many times in training.
Here we go again, they're going along the pace. And Ricardo Whitty in front and lane 6.
Six.
On the outside here, pretty good.
And accelerates down that runway, plants the pole, but has to pull out.
Lane 4 is third position, and that's
This
Georgie
is
Rose
where
forward
the
from some
the
people.
mental game comes into it. That's his second miss.
Yeah, it definitely becomes a mental game as well. And when you start, it's one of those things of like, you know, you don't want to start getting the habit of running through because you can't take off. You want to really bank those attempts. You just want to try to pull up before it so you can go back, reset. So here we have one final attempt at 4:15. In the meantime, we have Charlie Cameron coming for a second attempt. Currently in, what did we say? Did we say Charlie was in second place?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was. That was of course Joshua Bull jumping before. So yeah, Charlie Cameron is. I want to say in third because he's got 2 misses at 4:05.
Yeah, so he's in third with Ruben in second.
Here he goes. This time, Charlie Cameron from Christ College. And misses that, so second miss for him. Now this really throws it back to Ruben Vogel, because if he can go clear while the others have 2 misses on the board, he could put himself in the box seat to really command this competition. Checking the iPhone footage.
Well, full field this time. Let's have a look. We've got Franks on the outside, Mead, Whitkeeper, Benita, Brickle, Colette. Benita looks pretty good in lane 5. Lane 536. 536.
Here we go. We've got Ruben Vogel lining up for his second attempt at 4 metres 15. He already got a PB at 4:05. Currently sitting in second position. So see what he's got. Can he better that personal best?
In second position, and in third position, lane 6 is Abby Whitkeeper from Tauranga Girls College.
You can see him put his pole down. You can see a bit of a gust of wind coming through there. If you have a look at the trees in the background, you can see it swirling quite a bit around. It's one of those things as an athlete as well. You need to make the decision. You can see the dust blow up. If you just wait a little bit, hopefully it'll die off. Here we go.
Ruben Vogel from Takapuna. Up he goes. He's got the height. Will it stick? Doesn't. Oh, he knew he had that one in him, and that's sort of that smile, knowing that he had it.
2 rounds of the junior girls shotput.
Yeah, lovely takeoff there.
From Diocesan School, so in first with 1389.
Should have
It's the
tucked his shirt
singlet.
in.
It's the singlet.
Knew it.
Didn't want to say it, but
Ruben, you should have tucked your shirt in. Coming from the 2 pole vault technical experts up here.
Increased to 4 metres 15.
no. So it looked like his chest just comes down on the bar there, but that puts everyone back to square one, meaning that you've got one more chance at 4:15 to go clear and advance to the next height. One more chance to go.
And just a reminder to everyone at home, we do have the junior girls 100 metres going on in the background, so jump online to the NZSSAA live results to keep up to date to what what's going on around there as well. But in the meantime, we are focusing on the senior boys pole vault. It is the final. We do have 3 athletes left. The bar is at 4:15, so Ruben Vogel's already cleared a PB, so he's currently in second place. His PB before this competition was 4 metres flat, so he cleared 4:05. Our other 2 athletes have both had PBs of 4:20, so we're really getting up to that PB territory for them as well.
Queen's High School in 12.97, and Caitlin Kichin from...
All right, Joshua Bull, this is his last attempt at this height. He hasn't been in this position in the competition yet, where he's only had one chance left to clear a height.
No, we saw him do a run through before on the last one, so let's see if he can pull it together, take off. Really love to see him have a really great attempt at this. We know his PB is 4:20, so we know they're definitely capable of this height. Under these circumstances and these conditions, it's always really tricky. You can see the winds picked up compared to when they really started at the beginning. These guys had quite a calm day going on. Clouded over. It's got a little bit chilly. You see spectators with jumpers on now. It's a bit of a change from yesterday.
Yes.
Right, I can see Joshua Bill there just waiting for the wind to die down, hoping. And one of the things I talked earlier on was about the crosswind as well. So you can see a shirt blown there. That looks like there is a crosswind, which is one of the worst types of wind for a pole vaulter as well. So it'll be a little bit tricky there, navigating that.
Junior girls, and in lane at 5 is Liam Townsend from Mount Aspiring College.
Definitely taking his full minute. Haven't seen the yellow flag go up, but you know, this is like a really important part for young athletes to learn as well, is that you need to take the full time that you're allowed to have. Don't quickly rush the process. You know, wait for the wind if you need to.
Yeah, great work, just settling himself, and now he's off, running down the runway, gets a good clean plant, and he's over. Woo! Joshua Bull of Catholic Cathedral College is clear on his last attempt at 4:15. A fantastic, very clean, technically beautiful jump. Look at this.
He definitely had such a nice takeoff. And one thing that we saw him, so much height on that as well. One of the things I love that he did as well, though, we saw him on the jump before, just kind of run through. Something wasn't right, and he actually looked like he was kind of having a little bit of a wobbly with what things were happening, and then he just took his time on that one. He used his full amount of, full minute, composed himself, and he came out and he really nailed it. And that's a really sign of a really great athlete, right? It's being able to just turn around, turn it off, be like, okay, this hasn't been going as great as I wanted it to. What's happened? I've been clear the whole way through, and all of a sudden I'm on my final attempt. But to turn around from there and get such a nice clearance, awesome to see. So that puts Joshua Bull currently into first place with Charlie Cameron in his final attempt, and Ruben Vogel, who is in second place. He's got one more attempt at this height of 4:15. So this is Charlie Cameron, final attempt at 4:15, currently in third place.
Here he goes, last chance, takes down the pole. And he's unhappy about that, as you would be. That was his chance to stay in the hunt for a different coloured medal. He's going to have to wait and see what happens with Ruben Vogel.
So he does have a PB of 4:20, so you can understand as well, everything was going so nicely for him to, that's one of the things as an athlete. It's not, people get like, oh, why would you be frustrated? You came third, you got a medal. But at the end of the day, we've talked about this earlier this morning, that he's also there to do the best for yourself. You really want to improve on your own personal best as well. So I can understand that Charlie's a little bit frustrated there. But in the meantime, we have Ruben Vogel currently in second place. His final attempt at 4:15. He's already cleared 4:05, which was a personal best. So he came to this competition with a personal best of 4 metres. So can he further that personal best by another 10 centimetres from that 4:05? Currently in second place.
The merchandise sales, so they were not taking orders over the first couple of days, but now we've sorted it out that we can in fact get those.
All right, Ruben Vogel, last attempt. Can he stay in the hunt for that gold medal? Up he goes. He had the height, but again, just didn't quite have that momentum to push him over. Clips the bar, takes it down. I think he'll finish in second place with a silver medal. Joshua Bull from Catholic Cathedral will be your senior boys champion in the pole vault. He's gone clear at 4:15. Ruben Vogel will have to settle for a silver, we believe.
And we say settle, but he came to this competition. He had a personal best of 4 metres, came in, he got a new PB of 4:05, had a solid attempt at 4:15.
Two very solid attempts,
very, very, very solid attempts at, and also has got a national medal. So
absolutely.
It's a good day in the office for him. And also what I actually loved about that competition is one of my highlights there was Joshua Bull's ability to, what we kind of saw from our perspective is, was he digging into this hole of when athletes just get a little bit psyched out and, mentally they start to lose it a little bit, and he was doing a few run-throughs, and then he just came back at the 4:15 on his last attempt. Clean, beautiful jump. So I do believe the bar is going up, and he's going to keep going for 2:25. So that's Joshua Bull, who is our national champion, our senior men's pole vault. The bar is going up to 4:25, which will be a personal best for him.
over at the pole vault. We have now got the bar raised to 40.
So we're shortly going to be bringing you the action from the track on the senior girls 3,000 metre final. So that's going to be coming up around midday. Sorry, and of course I'm putting everyone wrong. The senior girls went last night, so it's the senior boys that will be running in midday. Already forgetting what happened yesterday. That's how much action we've had here. So
you see the officials. See, I told you it's such a manual job. See the officials pushing the blocks along there, having to walk around the track with them. Here we go. So the bar's at 2 meters, 4 meters 25. This is our national champion, Joshua Bull. So he's going for a personal best. He did clear 4:15, which secured him the gold medal. Nevertheless, he wants a little bit more. We saw him do a great attempt at 4:15. So I'm actually glad we're seeing him get out there and go for another height. I'd love to see him get a PB because that last clearance of 4:15 was just, it was so beautiful. And we see the wind's just blowing around a little bit there in the background. The officials holding the bar up. So someone may have to correct me, but I do believe that when there is one athlete left in the competition, they get a further maybe 3 minutes between.
Nice. I don't know, but
yeah.
that sounds like it would be a sensible move.
Because obviously there's less people, so you get less recovery time.
Yeah.
So you do get a further additional time.
And as we've talked
jumps.
about, he's great at just making the most of that time and settling himself, going through mentally all those different steps he needs to make, all the different component parts that make up pole vaulting.
Yeah, definitely. And one of the things that I am loving though is that we're seeing athletes, and then we're seeing like some of these athletes come through and just have just the mind and the mental game of an athlete as well, the ability to turn on and off. And we're seeing it when they're jumping between events. They're going from the shot put to the 100, or they're going from the hurdles to the 100. Or a perfect example is Joshua. We've seen him, he's missed and he's turned around and had a really great clearance as well. So we're seeing some great athleticism all around here.
How would you've done a fair few field events, having been a hipped athlete, but how would you sort of prepare for this? Because we saw him just absolutely just do a masterclass of the mental game, just composing himself, getting himself ready. Would you practice that in training, put yourself into some kind of little pressure situations where you kind of need to work on that mental game? Because it's hard to replicate, right? Here he goes with the bar at 4:25. Runs through that one.
So he obviously knew as well before. It's very hard to be in this position of an athlete, right? You've already won, and you're going for a PB, and look, you can see him so much going through his mind right now. There's a lot of pressure, but also there's no pressure because you're trying to come down from that fact that you're already pre-celebrating that you've won.
Yeah.
It's imagine if you'd won an Olympic medal and then someone said to you, "Hey, keep going though, keep going." I'd retire.
Yeah.
But yeah, so one of the things about preparing mentally, it's something you can't replicate, right? So it's a lot of it comes down to experience. A lot of it comes down to actually attending these events and understanding what it feels like to be in a stadium with people. And I remember the very first, did I go to World Champs? The very first, no, I went to the Commonwealth Games, can't even remember. I went to the Com Games in 2014, was the very first big stadium event I ever did as well. And, people talk about these villages, there's all these athletes.
Glasgow?
Yeah, in Glasgow.
Yeah.
And all these things happening, and you're like, oh yeah. And they said, make sure you do lots of walking to build up your calf strength because it's about 1.5 k's to the dining hall. And there was this big focus on having to walk to the dining hall. And I was like, no one told me I was going to get there and I wouldn't be able to hear the starter because the whole stadium's singing Sweet Caroline.
Far out, yeah.
So there's just things like that no one, nothing but experience can.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And actually, one of my favorite memories was from the 2015 World Champs in China, and I was doing heptathlon at the time, and they'd clearly filled the crowd. You know, they wanted to look really great, and there was a great event. And but the heptathlon was on quite early in the morning, and the stadium didn't have that many spectators, so they filled it with all these people that didn't necessarily know about athletics, and there was just this constant just clapping for everything.
Yeah.
And I was like,
awesome.
and I got a no jump, and there were all these people in the crowd clapping, and I was thinking,
I'll take it.
Yeah, I was like, thank you.
Brilliant. So here he goes. He is going to line up for another one. I thought maybe he was shaking his head after that first run through.
He just really wants a PB today. And I think that's one of the things, though. You've got to remember that if you're already on that roll, why not, right?
Yeah.
It's very hard to get a PB. I think people underestimate, you know, when people often get PBs all the time, they're like, oh, it's easy, but you get to a point in your life and you realise they're like, oh, they only come once a season if you're lucky.
And another run through. Let's see if he is going to give it another shot.
Yeah, so going to have a little chat to his coach there. You can see it is getting quite windy there, and he's kind of... I wish we could have got some thing. What's
Yeah, we need the mic on that.
Oh no, it's going to...
the pins.
Oh no, is it coming off? Yeah, it's coming off. So they don't have to wear...
If you're a team captain, bringing your high school team to one of these events, just bring a little thing of safety pins.
Yeah.
A little pro tip for you.
Still reckon the material ones that have Velcro on are always great.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're comfortable. Yeah.
It is funny that we've got all this technology. We're using iPhones and things, but we still just safety pin on our bibs and have these funny little hip stickers that fall off all the time, flap around. And
well, one of the things as an athlete I always think, I was like, why do they give me these massive things with my name on? Like, it doesn't even fit on the crop top. It's just, it's ridiculous. And it wasn't until I sat this side.
Yeah.
Once
you're commentating.
And
when who was that Kiwi girl there?
Yeah. And it's like, not until then you really appreciate, the bigger the name, the better.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then sometimes you realise as well that, it's probably more for the spectators' perspective, because I did have this great idea once, and I was like, barcodes. We should all just have barcodes. We go into the courtroom, they scan us, just like the grocery shop.
Great idea.
Put you in your lane. Wouldn't be probably that helpful for us, though. Cool, so it looks like he is actually going for that final attempt.
Yeah, good on him. He's already got that gold medal in the bag. And let's see if he can add to that with a personal best performance. That would be a great way to round out what's been a tricky year for athletics.
Yeah, definitely. And this is quite a long competition as well. I always forget about that. One thing for the pole vaulters as well, it's just one of those events that it's really time consuming. So to say switched on for a couple hours to do an event, I mean, for example, for me, it's going to be between 55 to 56 seconds of just thinking about it and it's over. But for these guys, they're out there for 2 hours.
Yeah. And
then plus the warm-up. So, this is like a half-day event for them. So it'd be really starting to kind of take its toll, I guess, as well. And but it's really good to see him get out there and see if he can take off. So this is our national champion, Joshua Bull, in the senior men's pole vault. He's going for a personal best. He's already won the gold medal, so he's just out there trying to get a personal best. His personal best is, 4 meters 20, and the bar is at 4:25. So he is the only athlete left. So he is just doing this purely to try and get his personal best. He's had a couple run-throughs on the first 2 attempts, so he's had a few technical issues, but we have said that it is one of those things that it is very hard to get out there when you're already won the medal. You see a smile on his face. So I'd really love to see him have a take off and have a really good go.
So he was the champion in 2019 down in Wellington as well, so be very happy to add another title to his high school career. Here he goes, last attempt at 4:25. Can he give this one a good shot? Up he goes. and clips the bar, but that was a much better attempt than the first two
Yeah,
because he got off the
I
ground.
was going to say, he did take off.
But he puts his hands in the air. He's got a big smile on his face, and rightly so, because that's a brilliant day at the office.
Yeah, so that is Joshua Bill from Catholic Cathedral College. He is your national champion in the senior men's pole vault with a height of 4.15. So some classy jumping by him. He had clearance, first clearance opening at 3.65. He skipped 3.75, 3.85 clearance on the first go, 3.95 second attempt, 4.05 was the second attempt, 4.15, the great 4.15 was the third attempt. Beautiful clearance, and then that's when he won the medal. And he's just missed his personal best there by 3 missed attempts at 4.25. In second place we have Ruben.
Yeah, Ruben Vogel was in second place, and then Charlie Cameron came home for third, we believe, assuming that my knowledge of the countback system is correct.
Yeah. And awesome, great jumping from Ruben Vogel as well, because he did get a personal best. He came in this competition with a 4 metre PB, so to come out with a 4.05 PB plus a silver medal at the national championships is also awesome jumping. But overall, great competition.
Yeah.
Very tight competition, especially through that 4.15 and 4.05 kind of mark. So.
Oh, I'm stoked that we got to get through it. So thanks everyone for tuning in this morning. The action isn't done for our morning session. We still have to come the big 3,000 metre, the 7.5 laps senior boys final that's going to take place in, I'm just looking around the track to see if they've got everyone gathering in the next 10 minutes anyway. And then after that will be the prelims for the 300 metre hurdles and girls and boys, senior girls and boys.
Yeah, perfect. So some pretty exciting stuff coming up, and also stay tuned because this afternoon, later in the afternoons, we have some pretty exciting stuff coming up. We have the 100 quarterfinals as well. Do you have the program there?
And we also have this is the senior girls triple jump happening, which we haven't been able to give a huge amount of coverage to, but we will be able to give you a little bit of an update if I can. So while Portia goes off and does a little coffee run, fetch some refreshments for the commentary team to get us through the next half hour or so before we break for our actual lunch. We are going over to the triple jump. And Yasmin Kristenhuis.
We've completed 3 rounds in the junior boys javelin. There's been no change after the third round. Stian Borges, Mount Maunganui College, 62.57 in first. Bradley Dudois from Cambridge High School, 51.67, and Andre Gunderson from Paraparaumu, 45.27.
All right, so I've got a start list for the senior girls triple jump here with Lara Hockley from Hawera, Marguerite Johansson from Bethlehem College, Emma McKay of St Hilda's, Gracie Braddon of Cashmere High School, Michelle Farmer of Hawera High School, Rosie Neal of Motueka, Tessa Beard of Verdon College, Morgan Odemans of Roncalli, Giselle Howard of John Paul College, Charlotte Print of Westlake Girls, Sarah Hewlett of Te Awamutu, Yasmin Kristenhuis, who we just saw before from Whanganui Collegiate, Katie Bitstill of Sacred Heart, Charlotte Drabble of Mount Maunganui, Yana Longney of Edgecombe College, Hana-Rae of St Kentigern's, Keela Cashmore of Whanganui Collegiate, Zoe Hall of Sacred Heart, Mackenzie Roskrug of Waitakere, Lusungu Mbambo of Ashburton, Paris Munro of Whanganui High School, Mandy Zhang of McLean's, Brianna Cosgrove of Cambridge High School, Grace Thompson of Burnside High School, and Tiana Rusick of Thames High School. So that's your lineup in this triple jump. I believe we're in the later stages of the competition. We'll try and get an update on places and where we are up to in terms of rounds. But it's great to have your company here in sunny Tauranga in the Bay of Plenty at the New Zealand Secondary Schools Track and Field Champs, the 2020 edition. And overall, like walking around the, talking to people in the grandstands, talking to athletes, coaches, everyone's just over the moon to actually be able to have this competition. Back in, March, April, we lost a lot of competitions, as Tony Rogers was on this morning talking about world cross country, world secondary schools competitions that athletes who had selected paid for flights and travel arrangements and had to cancel their travel plans. So fantastic that we're in a country where we still have live sport, we've still got mass gatherings, and we're able to do this and celebrate all the hard work that all these young athletes have put in, not only this year but for their entire high school careers and leading up to this big moment. So there we see the pole vaulters just packing up, and just in time really, because the afternoon wind has arrived. We were predicted to get a bit of a blustery afternoon, and that wind has arrived. As you can see, the marquees just blowing around a little bit, a few dust plumes picking up. And there's Jaden Mulvold, who will come to pick up another medal for his 1500 metre final earlier today.
So the winner of the junior boys 1500 metres para is Jaden Mulvold from Rangitoto College, and his time was 4:54.17.
So there you can see the grandstand. A lot of people really appreciative of Jaden's performances this weekend already, and also the great stuff that he puts out on social media. He's a good one to follow on the old gram.
Well done, Jaden. We have a wee break on the track at the moment because that senior girls 3,000 metres final was run last night, so that's given us a little bit of a break here. The next race will be the senior boys 3,000 metre final at 12:30, and then we do in fact have a little break again for about 3/4 of an hour. Might get some lunch today.
So you might have just heard over the stadium announcement. Of course, with the senior girls 3,000 metre final being last night, we next up have the senior boys 3,000 at 12:30. So it means that just got a little gap where we would have had the final now was on last night. So a little gap in the action on the track. And we'll try to get an update on where things are at with the triple jump as well.
Just also, while it's quiet, we'll remind those senior girls 1500 metre runners that you will not be having heats. You're going to a straight final at the final time, which I believe is tomorrow. So it's the senior girls 1500 metres. You do not have heats. You're going to a straight final.
So yeah, there was just an announcement over the loudspeakers as well. So at 4 p.m. we're supposed to have the prelims for the senior girls 1500. That's now been changed to a straight final on Sunday. So if you're planning to tune into that at 4 p.m.
And Sarah Hewitt from Te Awamutu College is in third with 10 metres 88. We're also into the final 8 for the junior girls shot put. Susanna Canelli from Diocesan is in first with 1389 at this stage. Nadia Kimerich, Rangitoto College, 1365 in second, and Grace Matilovich from Albany Senior High School, 1279.
Okay, so we have some medal presentations to do from the para long jump. So if we can have those boys from the para long jump make their way to the medal tent just down here past the finish line. One of those divisions we have Josh Taylor and Melvin Andrews, and then Zachary Orbell and Jack Lewington. So if we can have those 4 athletes and their assistants come down to the medal tent, we'll do those presentations.
Further call for Jack Lewington from Kuranui College, the boys long jump multi-class para senior boys long jump. Could you go to the middle tent, please? Jack Lewington from Kuranui College.
In the junior girls shotput, we've had a change of leader. Nadia Kumarich has now taken the lead with a throw of 14 metres 56, a huge PB there for her. Second place is Susanna Kennelly from Dysonson School on 13.89, and third place is Renee Willis from St Hilda's on 13.06 metres. To your attention, ladies and gentlemen, to the medal presentations. There's three to come up. First one up is going to be event 581A, the boys long jump, T20 senior T20. Presenting the medals. I've got it written down, I know I have. Steve Rees-Jones. So this event here, the winner, the second place, Nelvin Andrews, unfortunately is not here. He's from Auckland Grammar, but the winner in the gold medal goes to Josh Taylor from Wairarapa College. So well done, Josh.
presentation is event 579 in your program, the boys long jump, the multi-class para junior, and it goes to Zachary Allbell, probably commonly known as Zach, from hana-rae, 3.3 metres. Well done, Zach. The next medal presentation is the event 579A, the boys long jump multi-class para with the seniors. Jack Lewington from Kuranui College in Greytown. And the coach, Mark Harris, is up here very proud. So well done to Jack Lewington, Zachary Allbell and Josh Taylor. Jack, Zach and Josh, good strong names. Well done, boys. Congratulations.
Well, kia ora and welcome everyone. Welcome back to Tauranga here at the New Zealand Secondary Schools Track and Field Champs, where we are live with the senior boys 3,000 metres. Of course, we had the senior boys final, senior girls final last night, and today is the senior boys final for the 3K after we had the prelims. And joined with me in studio is Camille Buscombe. Welcome along.
Thank you.
Our leading 5,000, 10,000 metre female runner currently, who's back in New Zealand for a training stint, I guess, a COVID-induced training stint back home.
Yes.
But good to have you in studio and helping calling this race. So I'll find a start list and we can go through these names. But just quickly, have you got memories of running 3,000 metres at the New Zealand Secondary Schools?
Yes. I used to do more the 8:15, but then I did also do the 1,500 3K as well.
Awesome.
It's pretty, I was going to say it's pretty windy actually today, so the start seemed a bit slow, and they're sort of taking off a bit slow. No one wants to lead.
3,000 metres.
Yeah, and then just sort of as you mention it, I
they
think
pick it up a bit. Yeah.
Zane Powell just taking the lead from King's College, just deciding, no, I want this pace nice and honest.
Yeah.
The junior boys javelin has finished. First place was Darren Poitras, 62.57 from Mount Maunganui College. Bradley Bidwell, Cambridge High School, 51.67 in second, and Andre Gunderson, 46.17 in third from Paparomu.
All right, so here's our start list. So we've got Yako Tohaya of Auckland Grammar, Ash Kazi of Westlake Boys, Will Anthony of Scots College, Angus Munro of Glendowie, Luke Clements of Mount Albert, James Corbett of St Peter's, Zane Powell of King's College, Jasper Ortfield of Wellington, Sam Hayes of Auckland Grammar, Ben Bidwell of Cambridge, Charlie Hazlitt of Kashmir, Max Yanzik of St Kevin's, Toby Saxby of Westlake Boys, Henry Bellevue of Wellington, JJ Weston of Westlake Boys, and Macro of New Plymouth. So it continues to be Zane Powell doing all the pacemaking duties into this wind. And what sort of effect do you think tactically that wind's going to play a part in this, Camille?
Yeah, I guess no one really wants to be taking all the wind, so it's sort of mostly just the front guy at the moment. Actually, I was going to say it makes a huge difference the amount of energy you use when you're actually like front running into the wind versus being right behind. So the Ben's in second place here, being nice, like the wind's being nicely blocked from him, so he's actually in a good position. And then Zane at the front. So Ben, the guy in second, his coach, he used to coach me, Graham Turner. Yeah, when I was
there we go.
Yeah, so I actually just saw him down there watching. He'll be having the splits ready, so it's pretty cool.
So they went through 1K in just a tick under 3 minutes. So I want to say, about 2:55? I didn't get the exact split. So Zane Powell's definitely stamped his mark on this. He's definitely come here to say, let's just crank this along.
Oh yeah, he's wanting something else to pass. He's wanting someone. Look, he's wanting someone to take. Oh my gosh,
and the brakes go on. I love it.
Oh my gosh, see.
He's like, look, I've taken
stopped running. Yeah.
3 laps for you guys.
Yeah.
Come on and do some work. And to the front.
Yeah, a complete standstill.
See, this is one of the beauties of distance running.
Okay, so he's off. Right, who's this?
Yeah, so number 718. So Will Anthony goes to the front and asserts some pace back into it. Classic. So that's one hard way to run it was still about a 70-second lap with almost total standstill in the middle. So Will Anthony picks up the lead.
4 laps to go.
Yeah, that's funny.
So at the moment it's Will Anthony. Zane Powell's just tucked in just behind him. I'm just looking up. Yeah, so it was Zane Powell last year who won this competition, beating out Will Anthony. So those two, I'm sure, will want to have a good little battle as the pace sort of just continues to march on, and it's almost like we're just split into 2 packs here. We've got this pack of 6 athletes led out by Will Anthony. Zane Powell and Macro just comes around the shoulder just to make sure that little gap there that's forming with those 3 maybe just pulling away. So it really shows, Camille, how when the pace goes on, you just see this elastic nature of the pack just getting strung out.
Yeah, so it's definitely those first 3 are right there, and then 4th is trying to hang on to. Yeah, he's going to do it. Look, he's back on the front.
Yeah, so Macro from Taranaki doing a great job to pull back up to the pack, but he's got to make sure that bungee cord doesn't keep stretching. Will Anthony setting a really good pace up the front.
13:89, and Renee Willis from St Hilda's, 3rd and 13:14.
So it's Max Janzik sitting back there in 5th place, just managing to cling to the back of Macro. But these guys setting a good pace. They're well under 9-minute pace for the 3,000 metres. And here they go with 2 laps to go. Still it is Will Anthony having to do all the leading. Zane Powell's just on his shoulder after Zane leading out that first kilometre. And is it Ben Bidho or is it Ben Bidouar?
The second
or is it either? Bidouar?
Yeah,
okay.
I think so.
And a little bit of argy-bargy in there as Zane Powell comes to the lead. He's looking to own the last 650 metres of this race.
So I'm pretty sure that the other day quite recently Zane ran a 3K up in Auckland. Was that?
I'm
pretty sure Zane Powell ran like 8:17, I want to say, maybe.
You could be right,
Yeah.
and if so, this sort of pace is well within his range, hence why he's able to kick
He'll be
on.
a fast, yeah. Looked up going hard now. So
Macro's been dropped off after struggling to stay on, and is this a little bit of a break with Will Anthony just being dropped? So it's Bedwar
Yes.
and Zane Powell. Now, who's going to take it?
So lap to go now.
So 400 to go. We're through at 7:30. We'll make a note of that because let's see how fast this last lap is. Pulling away Zane Powell. What goes through your mind now, Camille? How do you get those legs moving?
I actually like when I get to the last lap because I feel like I can do it. So it's just go as fast as you can go.
You can always run a fast 400.
Yeah. Before that, it's pretty. Yeah, the last 2 laps before is pretty hard, but.
And look at this fantastic running style from Zane Powell, standing up tall. He's got 200 metres to run. He's got about a 10-metre lead on Ben, and he's still pulling away up.
Watching third as well. This will be interesting.
This is going to be interesting,
First,
just off
second, and
screen.
third could change.
So Will Anthony's making a bit of a surge, so this is going to be a good battle for second.
Yeah.
But at the moment, coming round out of that wind onto the home straight, here he sees another national schools title in his sights. Let's see how fast the last lap was, because this boy is moving. Zane Powell, he's the man of the moment. 60 seconds for the last lap.
Seconds.
And who's going to pick up Will Anthony for second place? It's almost a repeat of last year and a big sprint off here before the fifth. Oh, yes, Macro leaning at the line. Wonderful running and incredible times, really, with lots of runners coming through well under 9 minutes. This is great
it was
running
fast,
from all these boys.
Despite the crazy start and then the hold up in the middle, it was a fast race.
Yeah, now, so talk us through, like Zane Powell, as you said, he's coming off a really good personal best. He led out that first K, had to do a lot of that work. Like, when you're in that position, you obviously don't want to be doing too much lead.
Yeah, because it takes up a lot of energy, which you need sometimes in the later part of the race. So, I've been in situations as well where I end up at the front and it's pretty like, okay, come on guys, can we, I don't really want to be.
Share the work.
Yeah, but obviously no one's going to want to take it off you, so. But yeah, he did well to just get someone else to help him out for a few laps. It was.
And do you think that was a good strategic move, just being like, well, if you're not coming through, I'm just going to step outside.
I guess that's what you have to do, right? Yeah, and then someone else will be like, right, I'm going to take it on. And it was impressive, the guy who, he took it on, and he really I think he pulled back that time again, which is why these guys managed to run, actually pretty fast, considering that pretty much they were walking for 5 meters.
The brakes literally went on after single file, big long train.
Bunch,
to absolutely bunch up. And then Will Anthony took about a kilometre into the wind, and then it was all about Zane Powell, who over the last about 650 metres he kicked from, and beautiful technique as he just upped the ante and stamped his mark on the race. What in those last question, Camille, before we go to the break, when it gets to that really dark stage, we talked about the last lap, which is kind of easy. What about that second to last lap where it's really hard, and that's where Zane put in his big move?
Yeah, I was going to say that's something I've really been trying to work on, is that last K, really. The last 400, I feel like I always find this extra gear, but I find just before that's when, if you drop off, you're not there with a lap to go, and that's actually when you either are too far behind to catch, or you're running the same pace as the front runners anyway, so you're never going to catch them. You've got to be there before the lap, before that stage. So that's really mentally, you've almost got to think the last lap's the lap before the last lap. So it is actually something I've been really trying to work on. People make usually about a K out even is when people start to really surge, or they might surge twice. So they'll do it, maybe a K out and then again, at the bell, or even 500. And if you miss that first one, then you spend the whole time catching to the and the next one, and then you miss the next one, and so it's yeah,
Okay, ladies and gentlemen,
it is an interesting, it was a cool race though today. These guys did really well.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for those words of wisdom. I'm sure there'll be a lot of people listening to this getting some tips for when they find themselves on the start line next. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you for Camille for helping guide us through that 3000. We're going to be catching up with yourself more this afternoon and throughout the weekend. But thank you everyone for tuning in. Be sure to join us back here from 1:30 on Sky Sport Next YouTube. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, put in all the reminders into your phone, make sure you're tuned into the action. We'll catch you all soon.
Cool, see ya.
The gold medal winner is Joshua